I didn't sell out, son. I bought in. Keep that in mind.
Welcome to the Independent Characters, episode 265. This is Carl.
This is Adon.
And, thanks for joining, Adon.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was very excited to hear that you were back.
Yes, I am excited,
I was
too.
excited to hear you were back. I don't have anybody make fun of when you're not here. Making fun of Josh is not as fun. Before we get started, this show is sponsored by two of our Patreons, Andrew Scherer. Sure. And Rick Spears. That's the second time we've done that.
Yeah,
joke
it is. Yeah.
Since our first one, it's the first time we've had a technical issue with this recording device, and it just destroyed the whole intro to the episode. So we're back, and
it'll be better this time.
Yeah, that's right. We're practiced, and while we're back, we'll also mention that we're part of the Goonhammer Media Network, so you can check out media.goonhammer.com for more shows and information. And then let's talk briefly about an explanation of what this episode is all about. It's titled 40K for a Lifetime. We're going to kind of talk about how your time with 40K evolves over the years, from the point that you play to the point that you're not playing or that you're older.
Right.
Yeah. So to emphasize this, we have done interviews with, or I should say, taken testimonials from several people. We asked two questions. We asked people to explain how their involvement with 40K has evolved over the years.
Right.
And if they could go back and tell their younger self something, what would they tell their younger self? And so we've got several interviews that we will splice in here. They're not interviews. I don't have a lot of back and forth.
Right.
But we have several testimonials from some of our listeners that we've picked, and I spent some time talking with. And we'll splice those in here and then kind of give you our thoughts on why all those people are wrong.
Right.
I'm joking.
And just jumping back just for a sec.
Yeah, please.
So if you want to support the show like Andrew and Rick, you can do that through our Patreon.
Yes, you can.
Which you can find at independentcharacters.com.
With no A in the word independent. Okay. Yeah. So let's leap into Elite Choice. Why don't you go first, Adon?
All right. So
again, you know what? I should shut up because I hate when people say that when I listen to podcasts. Oh, we lost the first one. I'll stop right now. All right.
Okay.
What'd you pick for your Elite Choice?
I picked Greg Beer's solitaire conversion off of the Facebook group.
I bet I know why.
And I thought you were going to do that.
Oh, yeah. Right.
One of the things I really like about this model, the paint scheme's awesome, but also I like the fact that the conversion itself looks like it could be a GW Prime kit.
Yeah, I agree.
And it looks supernatural in terms of a conversion. It looks like it fits. The sword is awesome that he put on this solitaire. And I just think it's a really good overall piece of work.
Yeah. Conversions are I tend to find kind of tricky sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I've only pulled off a couple that I think were like, when I finished them, I was like, this is what I envisioned.
Right.
One was I did a Space Marine chaplain on a bike. It was probably the most expensive bike model I've ever chopped up a metal chaplain and all this stuff. And then the other was my Vashdor the Archifane, right, which I just love the way it came out.
Right.
This is an example of just really well thought out and put together model. It's not always as easy, I think, as it looks.
Well, in this case too, and there's a guy on Instagram, Matthew, he's a French guy who does a lot of diorama stuff. It points out, and you've talked about this before, where you have that eye to be able to see how something might look if you were to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I'm not good
at it at all.
No.
So
and the worst part is when you do a conversion.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And I've glued it all together. This is terrible.
Well,
I have one right now that
for my orc army, I'm doing the Fury Road thing. And so a buddy of mine and I, and he's good at thinking about things like this. And we were saying, oh, you know what? It would be kind of cool because I want them to be, the mega knobs to not be like all armored.
Right.
So he spliced Age of Sigmar Rager torso onto the mega knob legs.
Right.
And when he was saying it, I'm like, but then he did it, and he added some like plating to the torso a little bit. And,
to look more like Mad Max-ish kind of.
Yeah, and it looks really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It looks really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but see, I would not have been. I would have looked at it and went, nope, I can't do that.
See, we didn't talk about this story the first time. This is great stuff. You know what? It's like we had a rehearsal, and now we're getting like even better stuff. I like Take Two much better so far.
I'm also gonna call out Ted Lidgard from Sweden. He did a Royal Lifeguard Infantry.
He can't be called out.
No, I know, but no, it's not for an elite choice.
I'm teasing.
But he did little statues.
Okay.
Based on his infantry units. Gear.
Yeah.
And he painted it up that they used as awards.
Oh, that is cool.
And so there's in his post, there's a picture of him in his gear, and then the 1/16th scale model that he 3D printed out in resin and then painted, and then they handed him out as awards. I mean, first of all, getting something painted by Ted.
Yes,
right.
That's right there.
But then the fact that it looks exactly like his Royal Lifeguard Infantry kit.
Yeah. That
amazing.
is cool. That is cool. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Shout out to Ted.
All right. Well, listen, for mine, I chose Riser Burn, Kim, and their Iron Warriors Rhino that they just oil washed. And this is not only is a great paint job on this model.
Yeah, black and yellow.
Yes. Which is harder to do than most people think. I'm being, but it is fantastic.
No, Kim did a great job.
Yeah, and you know, it's got the Iron Warriors iconography on it. But the oil wash really makes this thing stand out, I think. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah, the oil washing.
Yeah, because
Have you done a vehicle before?
I have not. I've not.
I don't know if I'm sure I've seen vehicles that have been oil washed.
Yeah, but you have Josh's.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah.
And Travis now.
Did he do the vehicles too?
He's done his dreadnoughts and everything in his Space Marine armor is oil washed.
What about that flyer he just did?
Yep, he's oil washing that too.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He's just starting that. So
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really nice job.
Yeah. So why don't we leap right into hobby progress, because and
I'm sure you could do hazard stripes that look as good as this.
I could not.
No, I know you can't.
Not this good.
No.
So the reason I think we jump right into workbench or hobby progress is because we're talking oil washing, and I haven't done any vehicles. In fact, I've only done 10 models, and that's two squads of 5 Terminators. This is something, you know, I've talked about for several episodes on the show, wanting Josh to show me how it is, and Josh encouraging me, oh, you should oil wash this. I'm like, you should come down and show me how to oil wash this. Like, I don't know. Somebody just walking, talking you through the steps is not really good. For
you,
me, I need more than that.
Right. You're so needy.
Yeah, super needy. And why do you think I have a podcast? The thing is, I mentioned a couple weeks ago or a couple episodes ago, Travis spent some time walking me through the process on FaceTime.
Right.
And so he was working in his area down in Southern California, and he showed me, okay, here's the first part. You know, you mix the mineral spirits with these 2 types of oil paint until you get to this thinness, make sure blah, 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 you know, all the all the things that could trip you up. Then, your models are sealed. You just spread it all over the models. And I'm like, you just spread it all over. Spread it all over the model like that, huh? So, and then we hung up the call, and 90 minutes later we resumed the call, and he showed me how you remove it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But so
it came out looking great.
My first approach this was, I've painted up a squad of Terminators for Imperial Fists and a squad for Salamanders. These are for the
Space Hulk.
Yeah, the Space Hulk thing Shell's working on. And I said, okay, we're gonna paint these up. I'm gonna oil wash 5 of these, because if this goes horribly wrong, at least I've only destroyed 5 of them.
Dude, and you picked the yellow ones first.
Yeah,
the courage involved with that.
You got
when I saw the picture of them covered in the oil, from the yellow, I was like, God love you, because I don't know if I would have done that.
It was nerve wracking at first, right? Like I put it all over, and I'm like, oh God, if this has not gone right. This is going to be awful. And I was also concerned because it's such a bright color. And it's like, I'm putting effectively black all over it.
Right.
But then you do this reductive process where you're using the mineral spirits and a makeup sponge to remove the oil from all the flat panels and all this.
All the things you don't want black.
Leaving things in the recesses. And within 3 minutes, I was like, oh, this has been the right choice.
Yeah.
Like, this looks really good.
Yeah.
And then I spent a little time, just figuring out, okay, where do I not want dark and where do I want to remove stuff? And then I jammed through the rest of the Imperial fists and super
They look
happy.
great.
Super
they look
happy with
great.
the way they came out. So then before you arrived today, I did the salamanders. You showed up while I was wrapping up like the removal process.
And I was surprised how easy that ended up looking to do.
Yeah. The thing, there's a couple things. And I think I said earlier, I think I'm going to make a tutorial for how to do this. And I may include some video in that tutorial as well, because I'm going to do more of these.
Right.
For just showing somebody, I think I could make the tutorial very accessible, because somebody who's just done it for the first time, and I'm like, look at the results I got.
Right.
I'm sure I will even get better as it goes on. As there's maybe a few little, things I want to focus on. Like there is one mistake I made on the Imperial Fist where like I clearly didn't cover like a certain part with the seal, and you can see, it kind of pooled the yellow.
So you have to seal. So are you painting on the sealant or are you spraying it on?
So let me spraying it on. So let me walk you through the process. You finish the paint job.
Yep.
You seal it.
Okay.
Very well. Make sure everything's sealed.
Yeah.
I use a spray matte seal.
Yeah.
Tom would say he uses a spray gloss seal.
It doesn't matter.
Matt's worked fine for me.
Yeah.
Then
is this the GW or testers?
I was using, I think I had like a can of old AK Interactive seal.
Oh, the AK Interactive. Okay.
It's just seal. It can be whatever, testers, whatever. I wait 24 hours from that point.
Yes, you have to let it cure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were adamant about that. Wait 24 hours or longer, but a minimum of 24 hours. Then you come in, you're mixing mineral spirits with the oil paints. I have 2 different oil paints I'm using.
Burnt umber and a black, yeah?
Yep, and I mix those together with the mineral spirits. And make sure it's thin, there's no clumps or anything in it. And then you just slop it all over the whole model.
Right.
Like making sure to get everything in the recesses. But the thing is, it flows into the recesses better than anything you've seen.
Right, yeah. Well, you see that when people do the oil thing with the tip of the brush and it runs.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's so, like, you watch it go and you're like, oh, that's really nice. You know? Especially, like, I really, really like it when I see it hit it's very satisfying.
Yes.
To see it hit the chest of the Terminator with the
Aquila.
Yeah, the Aquila on it. It's just like, you're like, oh yeah, that was good.
And it's interesting because when I was working for GW, that was one of the things that we do when we show them how to use the Agrax Earthshade. Because you paint the model and you paint the chest, and then you say, okay, now here, put this shade on and you'll just start with a little bit and just put the shade, put it on the chest.
Yeah.
And it flows into the recesses, and people are like, oh.
Yeah.
So tell me why you like this better than using Agrax or non-oil.
Yeah, so the thing I found is, and the guys who sell this Villainy Ink stuff, I can't remember the name of the company itself that sells it. It's probably here on the bottle. But they have this process. Grimdark Compendium is the company. And this stuff it says it's an enamel wash.
Right.
The process is basically the same as an oil wash. I'm wondering, I don't know if enamel is the same thing as oil wash.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know enough about it to tell you. But what I will tell you is the process is exactly the same. And what they call it is the reductive process. Right? You're removing.
Right.
You're reducing your use of this stuff. So I slop it all over the thing, and then you wait 90 minutes. And this is key, and I'll come back to that point. You wait 90 minutes or so. Not too long. You don't want it to completely dry, but 90 minutes, enough to dry up what you want. And then I go in with a makeup sponge dipped in mineral spirits again, like lightly, like it's not dripping with it.
Right.
It's dipped in there and squeezed out. And you just start stippling it, like you called it super stippling or whatever, when you came in and saw me doing it, I'm half paying attention while I'm doing it. Like there's areas where I do focus on a little bit.
Right.
I want to be careful not to pull the dark out of this area.
Right.
And then, there were times I was looking at you doing it to the model.
Right.
And it just removes so nicely.
Right.
There's a couple things it doesn't do that I thought it would do. And this is what's it called on the shoulder of the
crux terminatus?
The crux terminatus. I've painted some of those bone colored.
Right.
And usually what I do is I paint it with the bone color. I wash it with a sepia tone. Then I highlight it a little bit with just a little bit of white or a bone color again or whatever. And I thought that this would kind of stain those down, and it did not.
Because you sealed it.
So dumb. Of course. Of course. But the interesting thing is it does darken the overall model.
Right. But it doesn't work like a wash. It's not the same as a wash.
Right.
Yeah.
It has darkened, like I said, like it darkens the panels a little bit.
Right.
But the primary thing, and you can lighten them up again, but the primary thing is it's getting in the recesses. But that's a very good point. You sealed it. So I am going to go back and like retouch those up with paint and wash. That'll be fine. I should have done it before I did the wash.
So a couple things. The what you're calling a makeup sponge, you're actually cutting these sponges, these wedges out of these huge sheets.
No, they come to tear off. They tear off.
They tear off, but I'm saying there comes in like 2 sheets, big sheets for not too much money.
Like $10 for like tons of it.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that I
got
noticed.
them off Amazon, by the way.
Right. So that's one thing I noticed. The other thing, at least for me, is I'm lazy. So you're painting it.
Yeah.
And then you're sealing it. And then you're waiting 24 hours.
Yep.
And then you're washing it.
Yep.
And then you're waiting.
Yep.
And then you're pulling the stuff off.
Yep. And then you're sealing it again 24 hours later.
Oh, and then you're sealing it. Oh, and then you're sealing it again. Okay, so...
Yeah, it does add
when
some
I'm
steps.
trying to like finish my last models 2 hours before the event starts...
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No. This is something you definitely need to plan for accordingly. Yeah. And to the point where like I knew you were coming over to record.
Right.
I think we said, come over at 3.
Right.
Like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, I got 2 hours before Dawn gets here. I'm going to wash these things right now.
Right.
Then I got half an hour to like clean them up because...
Right.
I didn't want to, you don't want to wait too long. Like I didn't want to wait through us doing a whole recording session to then go back. So you do have to plan.
Especially when you're going to blow up half of it and have to redo it.
Yeah. The session got even longer. We weren't going to talk about that, Don.
Okay.
You do have to plan accordingly.
Right.
Like that is the one thing, like you got to be like, okay, I'm going to need a 2 hour, 2.5 hour block of time. You are not doing work during that 2 hours. You're just waiting.
Right. Or you could be painting something else.
Or you could. That would be the ideal situation. Not, say, doing a wash and then going and sitting on your driving simulator for an hour.
Right. Or playing the new DLC for Space Marine 2 or whatever.
Right. Right. So that would have been more productive. So anyway, I've now completed the Imperial Fists and the Salamanders. I'm going to go back in and touch up a couple of those with washes on the Crux Terminatus.
Yep.
But I'm super happy with
the
way
they look good. They look good.
Super duper happy. I think Shell's going to be happy when we put them on the table for the Space Hulk thing. And I think players will enjoy playing with them.
Yeah, no, they look great.
So I think I will create a tutorial around how to do it with the next group I'm doing, which is the Emperor Spears.
Okay.
So I'll do the wash there and show people how it works, like step by step, and add a little video here or there and just be like, yeah, it's super easy. I think my biggest thing was the fear of the unknown.
Right.
Yeah. Like I think that's always the biggest.
Well, for me, it was like when I stepped off the platform doing in rappelling training, the first time I had to do the Australian rappel where you go face first.
Yeah.
I was like, I just have to step off.
Yeah. That's how I felt about the Imperial Fist.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm bungee jumping.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
basically,
well, they're covered in black now. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to remove it with this.
Yeah.
And the other
I've
thing,
jumped off the tower now. I better not fall on my face.
And I didn't mention before, the other thing with my Imperial Fists, and I don't think I've shown them to you in person, but like the helmets I did for the Imperial Fists are all white. And like, it's the best white I've ever done on like a helmet. Like I was so happy with the way it turned out. And then I'm like, wait a minute, now I'm going to slop a bunch of this oil wash all over it. And I'm like, but they're my beautiful helmets that I painted up. And I'll tell you, they look even better.
Yeah, they look really good, at least from the photos. Yeah, they look really good.
And they look better in person. The photo always pulls out every error. I think so. Anyway, so that was me.
There's a great cartoon that somebody posted where the guy's going, "Oh yeah, that mod looks really good." He goes, "Oh yeah, it's got a mistake on it." "Oh, where is it?"
Yeah.
No, it's right there on the left leg.
Yeah.
"No, what are you talking about?" And then the last panel, the guy's looking through a microscope and he goes, "Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's so obvious."
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I take a picture, I feel like, what the?
Yeah.
This is glaring errors. Anyway, where are they when I look at it? They're not there.
Right.
Camera's my worst enemy. All right. What have you been up to?
So, I wasted probably 3-4 hours on the internet looking for a copy of How to Roll Citadel Dice.
You could just ask me. I have the collector's edition.
You had the collector's edition?
Yeah.
Oh,
hardbound,
dude.
foil.
Oh my
foil.
gosh. Is it
edges.
signed?
It's still in shrink wrap.
Oh my God. That I have to tell you, listening to that episode, when he said that and listening to your guys' reactions, I was like, oh, he got him so good.
You know what I'll tell you about last episode? First off, it was super fun to record.
Yeah, it was
with
fun
those
to
guys.
listen to.
And I think that comes through, right? I think that.
Well, and I know those guys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was that added to it for me.
But like we were all blown away when Blake was like, my first pick is White Dwarf.
White Dwarf.
And we were like, that's your number 5? That's an excellent, like, I
That would have been number
I didn't
one,
even
yeah.
think about that. And that would have been my number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, it was cool too, because I thought about what my 5 would have been, because through a mistake of nobody's fault, I wasn't able to record that episode. But I had my 5 choices, and luckily for me, you guys actually covered all 5 of my choices. So I was very happy with that.
That was fun. So what have you been working on since you were
Yeah,
part
so
of that?
what I did was, when I took Imperial Knights to the Grand Narrative, I took a sheet of sheet metal and I completely filled the space between the back of my table war case to the front door of it.
Okay.
So if you look at the normal table war tray, you have inserts that you put into the tray, and each of those inserts then has a metal insert. And so that you can, and they're different size inserts that you can put in there.
Yeah.
But what that means is that you have probably 1.5 inches or more all the way around the tray that doesn't have a magnetic surface. So what I did was I took a piece of metal from, just real thin sheet metal from the Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and then I cut it so it completely filled the space. And so that when I took the knights, I
see.
maximized the area involved in it.
The surface area.
Surface area,
Okay.
yeah. And so, and then I, of course, then learned the hard way when I put that in the overhead that the new overheads rotate to close.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
like it used to be you just set them and then you close the door.
Right.
Now
it
they
rotates up.
lower down. You set the thing in it and then
Rotates
you push
up.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
up.
Now the table war medium case still fits. And if you're using all infantry models in there, it's not an issue. But the leverage of
As
the
long as
taller,
magnetized.
you're right. The leverage of the taller knights, I did some repairs.
I see. The leverage popped it off.
They fell backwards on top of each other. So I had to do some repairs. But anyway, so I cut another one of those. So I had now 2 levels of completely usable space. And I found that I was able to put my entire Fury Road orc army in there, except for the doof wagon thing conversion.
that you've been working on.
But everything else fits. And so it would make it super simple to take it to the Grand Narrative.
Cool.
The other thing I did was prime some trucks. I had 3 trucks that were kind of a bone color, which wasn't going to work. So I primed them black so I can repaint them. I 3D printed some D12 holders.
Okay.
Taryn Olmsted, who I've been practicing with my orcs with.
Yeah.
He's an orc player. And so
I saw pictures of you.
Yeah, he's been very helpful with it. But he uses D12s
Okay.
for tracking the wounds on his buggies. And even though they're 10 wounds each, that D12 sits really
More stable.
yeah.
Yeah, than a D10. A D10 has less surface area too. Yeah.
Right. And so I 3D printed these little like stands for the D12s. So I glue those onto the bases so that the dice travel easily with the buggies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And then I went on to the group call for the announcement for the participants of the Grand Narrative.
What's a group call?
So every year they do a call where Zach and Mike Brandt.
So like
If you're participating,
the event holds a call that everybody
Right.
joins. Oh.
And they explain to you what the setting
Do
is.
they do this like
and
over Zoom or something?
It's Google Meetup or whatever. Yeah,
some video.
It's an online thing. But the idea is that for people who've never been in the grand narrative, it kind of explains what's the vibe.
Gotcha.
But it also explains like what the setting is and all that kind of stuff. Well, this year, the grand narrative is being held. The event is taking place on Mordian, the planet Mordian. And so I've been doing this Fury Road orc thing, and I'm just like super jazzed. And then he said, it's taking place on Mordian. And I was like, oh, I have a fully painted Goblin Green based Mordian army. It was the first Astra Militarum Imperial Guard army I ever owned. I bought it. I assembled it.
Okay.
Many years ago when I was playing Greg. We were playing an APOC size game before there was APOC.
This suddenly makes a lot of sense to me, right? Because I saw you online in our group.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're like pulling out all the Mordians and out on the table and you're like, oh, I'm thinking about doing these Mordians. And I'm like, what happened to the orcs? And I'm like,
you were giving me a really bad time.
I'm giving you a hard time. I'm like, don't fall off the wagon. Stay.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to actually like encourage you to like stay on target.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense. And this is a legitimate reason to change.
Right. So I was like,
yeah. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like I thought you were just
thought
like,
I was just
I'm
like,
running out of time,
Right.
and this may not be working correctly. I'm not, I'm falling off the wagon.
right. No.
This is legit. This is
I was
legit.
like, and
Now
if
can't
I
give you a
decided
hard
to go
time
the
about it.
Mordian route, it still would have been a lot of time because they completely refigured the way that you do Astra Militarum squads.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
used to be
Yeah.
you have a special weapon and then you have a heavy team in your squad. Well,
Right.
they don't do that anymore. And so trying to reconfigure, what do I have? What would it look like? 10-man squads, 20-man
How can I make
squads.
this work under the new? Yeah.
Yeah. Do I put all my heavy weapons teams in a Stormlord, and do I use both the Cadian data sheet and the Catachan data sheet for
gotcha.
the heavy? I mean, it was this whole thing. I was going through and rewriting lists. I'm like, oh my God. And then the whole thing ended up being moot because there's a medical procedure that has to happen now on November 7th. It's kind of a not standard procedure. The surgeon who does it only does it one day a month, and October's full. And
Brain replacement.
yeah, and then November 7th is the date, and so it's like, I'm not going to the grand narrative.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks, man.
It really sucks because
I'm sorry.
there's more to the grand narrative than just playing the games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, last year,
it's a whole social thing.
Yeah, Dave Gormley and I were both in this. We were all orcs. We were all cosplaying. Everybody in the group was cosplaying orcs.
That's amazing.
We had a blast. It was so fun. I was really looking forward to that. And if I'd done the Mordian thing, I have a whole commissar outfit that I've used in other events. And the guy that I'm rooming with at the Grand Narrative, Luke, he does a whole cosplay thing with his Custodes. He plays like an equerry of the Custodes.
Right.
And he's like super full-blown like actor while he plays.
Right.
He narrates the whole game. They come bounding down out of their dropship, boots hitting the ground, dust goes everywhere. And it's so fun to play with him. And so he and I played against each other last year.
I kind of dig that. Like I might try something like that next time I play.
He and I played against each other last year, and everybody in the room was like, "Oh, how come I'm not in that game?"
Yeah.
I mean, it was a blast.
That's
we had
fantastic.
such a good time.
Well, I'm so sorry you're not going to get to go.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
But this is like one of the things about getting old. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
If we're still alive when we get to the end of this episode. But I mean, these are the kind of things that take precedence over, unfortunately, hobby stuff.
A couple years ago, Adepticon.
Yeah.
Right. I'm at Adepticon, and my mom was not doing well, and I am on the phone every day with my brother, and it was on the Saturday, I think it was, and I was like, "So what's going on?" He goes, "Yeah, you need to come home." And so I cut Adepticon off.
Yeah, I remember.
Right, I left.
Yeah,
and it sucked. But I got to spend 2 weeks with my mom before she passed. Right, and so those are things that become more frequent the older you get.
Yeah, this is very true.
So
this is very true. Well, all right. Well, I'm bummed that you're not going to get to go, man.
Me too.
That sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Let's leap into games played. This is going to be a short section.
Yes, it is.
I have played nothing. I have been really focused on work, and everything but playing at the moment.
That's not true. Oh, games played.
Games
not
played.
hobby progress. Yeah, games played. Yeah. No, me neither. I was on
progress. I meant games played.
No, games played.
Yeah. Okay.
I was on a 2-week F1 adventure.
Yes, you were.
And
I
so
was jealous.
I played no games either.
Yeah. So you know what? Well, I'd like to hear more about that. So let's take some time to record. We have time after our failed earlier stuff. Let's take some time
talking about that.
Oh, right. Let's take some time to record though, because I'd like to hear about that, and I think we'll make just like a quick Patreon episode.
Oh yeah, cool.
That'd be cool. Cool. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a short break.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna come back, and then we're gonna leap into, the main topic of the show, kind of discovering 40K and all that. We'll break it down to kind of the early years, the middle phase, and the veteran phase, and we'll have other stuff. But before we come back, let's do this. I'm going to play the testimonial we got from Emily, Rocket Ma'am, on our Discord server.
Yeah, so this was kind of cool. You recorded a bunch of testimonials from folks.
Yep.
And we're going to be kind of blending those in as we go.
Did I not mention that at the beginning?
I don't think so.
I think I did.
I think that was last time.
Maybe. Okay, so what we've done, I'll just reiterate then, as you just said.
Yeah.
I have, 7 or so people. There were more people that reached out, and I guess I reached out to a bunch because, look, we're all
Thank you for the responses, by the way.
We're all gamers,
yeah.
And gamers can sometimes be kind of flaky. No offense. I'm in that boat as well. But I reached out to more people than I think I needed to because we got responses.
It was great.
So I'll reach out to the people that I connected with that we don't have here. We'll do something very similar. We've been talking about ideas for getting people more involved.
Yep.
But yeah, I have like 7 or 8 people here that we're going to splice in throughout the episode.
Right.
And then we'll talk a little bit about. So we'll kick off the next segment talking about Emily and her kind of testimonial here. So we'll be right back.
So yeah, I'm Emily. I go by Rocket Ma'am on the Discord, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona originally. Currently in the Netherlands actually, and finding community here. So yeah, when I first discovered 40K, it felt like coming home. Right, I'd always loved Legos and model kits. So splitting a box of the Assault on Blackreach with a friend was what got me into the hobby. And for a long time, I chased all sorts of tools and methodologies. I watched so much YouTube back in the day trying to figure out how to paint all these minis. And so, yeah, it kind of evolved over time. I actually did take a painting class with CK Studios, and that really bumped me to the next level. I think I fell in love with my airbrush and really got a good handle on how to actually paint my minis with color theory and things like that. But as far as advice I would give myself, I would say, don't chase all the tools, enjoy the videos, but really the big thing is just remember this is a community thing. You want to make sure that you're putting painted models on the table for yourself and for the people you're playing against, and don't get discouraged when your favorite store closes or your friend moves away from the hobby. There's lots of people to meet and tons of great opportunities in this hobby. It's been a lifelong hobby for me. I loved it.
Okay, so first off, thank you, Emily, for sharing all that with us.
All the way from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just there.
Hey, I love that country.
Yeah,
country's beautiful.
Yeah.
So the thing that struck me as other than the fact that Emily took painting class at CK Studios,
I was going to talk about that too. Yeah.
Other than that, was when she said, "Hey, I'm reaching out to my younger self," and what would I say? Don't chase tools. Yeah, I mean, there is a tendency for us to find, and this is this Villainy Inc. stuff is a perfect example of this, Adon. Like I saw the Facebook ad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look at this. And these guys put out great tutorials for how to use this stuff. Now, have I followed those tutorials exactly?
No.
This is not magic in a bottle. I chased something. I thought it would do something. It doesn't quite do that. I still want to play with it.
Right.
I don't know when I'm going to get back to playing with it.
Right.
So this cost me, I don't know what, $70 or whatever.
Well, the other thing, I mean, working at the cafe,
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
People would bring in all these little toys and tools and boxes and kits, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, that looks
what
cool.
light is
like,
that?
I mean, we all love lights. Like,
Oh my god! I have
nice.
pictures of so many different light brands that people used to bring in.
I love the one I have. I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
I took a
that
picture.
So
That was a really good point.
So I liked that point. I liked the point about you're playing, you're painting your models for yourself and for those other people that you're playing with.
Right.
But more importantly than that, I think Emily brought up a great point, which was, they talked about their friends and how their friends, they've made friends just and how their friends are important.
Right.
And it made me kind of stop and think for a minute that, like, without friends playing this game, it's a very lonely prospect. Like, there's a lot you can get engaged with, and you can go to events and tournaments and play people that you don't effectively know.
Uh-huh.
But when you develop a friendship group that is playing together more than just, I show up, I play strangers, that takes on a whole nother level.
Well,
I don't think I would play.
I'll push back on that just a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
And that is, so when I first started, I used to like play at events. I'd go to Celesticon.
I played at events too.
All that kind of stuff. So I go to an event at DendroCon. I don't really know anybody else who's there other than the guys from who are running it.
Yep.
What was the name of the group?
Matt
and Dan Benavides.
Yes.
And that group there.
Yeah.
What was the name of their group? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But anyway, so I knew
they ran
them.
the Grand Wa too.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know anybody else, right? And I'm playing, and then I met this dude with a Forge World Death Guard army.
Yeah.
And I was like,
cool.
hey, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then...
Is that where we met?
That's right. It's where we met.
I thought we met at Pacificon. You came down with Zach and all those guys.
Nope.
No, you and I met at...
DendroCon.
Yeah, DendroCon.
We did play it at Celesticon, but it was after DendroCon.
Which, by the way, was the same event I had the experience with that one group of people that didn't give me the time of day. No, I'm not saying, Adon, I'm not saying you can't go to these events and make friends.
Right.
Like, in fact, I think that's what happens.
Yes.
But I don't think you fully appreciate the hobby and the game until you have those friends, and suddenly it takes on
and
another
you feed off
level.
of each other. And that, yeah. No, sure.
That's the point. I was
completely enhances the experience. 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. True.
Yeah. Any points that you caught other than the ones I threw out?
No, just that the fact that I've taken like 6 or 7 CK classes and I still have no concept of color theory. So
yeah.
Good on Emily, because
Josh gave me one of those spinning color theory things, and I'm like, I don't understand.
You're not just supposed to spin it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm doing
That's
that.
not it.
All right. So let's talk about kind of your path through 40K here.
Right.
And the thing I broke this down into 3 categories. The first was the early years, and for a lot of people, even for myself, even though I didn't start playing until I was an adult.
Right.
A lot of people discover 40K in their youth.
Right.
Like either
10, 11, 12 years old.
And we'll hear us later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
almost every person talked about that.
Through friends, through you go to a store,
right.
Through the miniatures,
right.
That kind of thing. And and then they eventually take their first step. And I've talked about this for me, like I saw and was aware of 40K. For years, I used to go to D&J Hobby all the time here, which was a great hobby store in the area. That's gone now. And I would go there primarily for role playing stuff, but of course there was massive amounts of miniatures.
Sure.
And I remember distinctly looking at a box of skeletons because I wanted to use them for D&D.
Right.
And I was like, "You're charging how much for these?" And they're plastic.
Yeah.
Now exactly. I'm like, is this thing really metal? Like, I don't want metal. Like, I'd prefer this in plastic. So, but I do, and I've said that before, but I remember distinctly that. And I remember seeing Warhammer and going, boy, that's expensive. For me, I don't want to get involved in that. I'm primarily role playing.
Right.
So that was kind of my first introduction to it. It wasn't until many years later that I was an adult.
Right.
The D&D stuff was like the group was getting older, doing other things that I was like, I need a game that one other person can play.
Right.
And it was like, 40K has always been interesting, and they have this starter box set. Let me give this a try. And that was, and it spun off from there. So that was like my first set was the Space Marines from the Battle for McCrag set.
Battle for McCrag. Yeah. It's interesting because I similar thing for me. I mean, when I was a kid, late teens, early 20s, my brother and I, mostly my brother because he's more artistic than I am, but we'd buy the little metal miniatures. And I knew about D&D, but we didn't really play D&D.
Oh, okay.
But the miniatures we thought were really cool, and he would paint them with the tester's enamel.
Yep.
Right back then.
You're gonna hear somebody else talk about that too.
Yeah. And
that was my first miniature was my evil cleric, which I've rebought, which by the way turned out to be a Citadel miniature.
yes,
I thought for the
it's
longest time it was a Ralpartha miniature. I kept looking for it. And then for some reason, like I looked at Citadel miniatures. I was like, oh my gosh, here he is.
There he is. Yeah. So that's where I first kind of saw the miniature thing, and it wasn't until later I was an adult, and
you had kids by this point too,
right? And but
so did I. But
I was playing CCGs, and I was going to endgame for CCGs and HeroClix, similar to what someone else is going to talk about. But and so I was aware of miniatures games.
Yeah.
But I was like, I ain't got time for all that.
What was the barrier for you? For me, it was not. Some of it was the price. Like when I was younger, it was the price. But then after that, it was, do I have the time to get involved with something like this?
See, for me, I was pretty heavily into the Game of Thrones CCG.
Right.
And in fact, I was going to Kubla Khan to play it. I went to the Nationals at Gen Con to play it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had a really big game, kind of a good friend group just from that.
So you're saying a friend group was important?
Yes, but a friend group that I had to develop over time.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of them to start with.
Okay,
right?
Fair.
And I was playing from that, and then I bought some HeroClix just because, and I've told this story a bunch of times, but I bought some HeroClix just because I like superheroes, my kids like superheroes, and Jake said, "Oh, this is a game." And
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and so one of the things for me was that you open the box, they're built, they're painted. And we go to Kubla Khan, and I sent him to the young players' room while I actually was running a CCG event. It was the Harry Potter CCG, and I'm running the event. And he's like, "Oh, we got to do this thing," and I'm like, "Heck no, because you're not going to build it and paint it."
Right.
And so to me, that was one of the barriers: was the building and the painting.
I can see that too.
The gameplay was not necessarily going to be a barrier for us.
Right.
It was the building and painting to be able to get to play.
Right.
And so that was the barrier.
I could see that. You know, I think at this stage too, a lot of younger people who are involved in this, and I'm kind of like, it's not to say you can't get into this hobby later in your life, but this is your early years of the hobby. Right. But, you know, a lot of younger players at this point have freedom of time, but a lack of money.
Right.
And this is something I was kind of, you know, you're time rich, but money poor phase.
Right.
Right. And then that flips as you become an adult. You may, hopefully you're money rich
and time poor.
And, you know, but unfortunately that comes with time poor. And so a lot of people in this, at this time are doing things like they're very slowly building their army. They don't have the resources to jump both feet into it, which may not be a bad thing in some regards. And then maybe they're sharing rule books or sharing terrain. Like, you know, there's more of a, you're reliant on your friends, and there's a communal source.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, we're all in this together. You know, sometimes they're using improvised terrain, like books with you know, towels thrown over them, or
that's the classic example.
Or proxy models, or and also at this time you're probably using some house rules. And I've said this before, like I remember a point where we were playing in 4th edition, and like I was like, well, can these guys like jump down this little cliff face? And it was like a 2.5 inch you know, like drop down, and we spent like 20 minutes looking for the rules, and I'm like, why don't we just roll a d6 and like on a 1, you know, like a guy takes a wound, you know, and he's like, no, I want to find the rules for this. And me coming from a role playing background as a DM, I would have just been like, just roll that die.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a shift there, but also there's this is the other note I made. Your excitement about it is better than your mastery of it.
Oh yeah,
by a long shot.
You know, it's interesting running a store and having people come in who are brand new players, and having, like, I had a group of guys come in who were from the Marine Corps base down south, and they were buying their first models because they had seen other guys in the service who had them, but they wanted to buy stuff and like jump right into meta lists, and like they were like hardcore wanting to be competitive, like right off the bat. And
it's a Marine mentality.
Yeah, but
I mean, to a degree, like, right?
But it was really interesting to see that, and then you see like this other kid who came in who was starting at exactly the same time. It was right after Christmas.
Yeah.
And much more of an organic kind of entry into it. And these kids were coming to the monthly painting competition, and they never played. They just like to paint the models and all that kind of stuff. And then and all these people in between. So it was really interesting to watch the different entries into the hobby.
I will bet you saw a lot of variety of type of player.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, the excitement is greater than the mastery of it. And I've mentioned this before, and actually hear one of the people in our testimonials talk a little bit about it too. Like, we got competitive about this game way sooner than we should have.
Right.
Like way sooner than we should have.
So did I.
And it caused some arguments amongst some of my friends, and, disagreements and feel bads and that kind of thing, where it's like, what are we doing?
So I had Grey Knights as my first army, and I take this army that I cobbled together because I had kids, and so I was living kind of more paycheck to paycheck, and everything I bought was off of eBay and pre-painted.
So you were still in the money pool.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because I had young kids. And I go to this event at Celesticon, and I'm going into a tournament.
Yeah.
And I barely know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And thank the Emperor for Matt Estes. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Matt was a great guy. It still is a great guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I've lost contact with him.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Super good player.
Yeah.
Super accomplished.
Yeah.
And he walked me through stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And he didn't have to. He could have just beat me like a baby harp seal.
Where was this?
At Celesticon.
Oh, okay.
Down on the peninsula.
So it wasn't an event he was running.
No. He was playing it. And that's where I first met him.
Yeah.
And he basically was like, what are you doing? It's like, well, that Land Raider, they can just come right out of the Land Raider and assault.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. He goes, yeah, no, it's a really, he was basically like teaching me the elements of my army.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to do that.
Which, by the way, is fundamentally, we tell somebody, don't go to a tournament to learn how to play your army.
Right.
Yeah. But fortunately, in some cases, you run into somebody like this who's just like, I don't really care about winning or losing.
He was going to win. There was no doubt about it. He was going to win. But I'm so thankful to him for that day.
That's cool.
Because it was my first ever game in my first ever event, and he could have made it a horrible experience, and he made it awesome.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what you're saying. I was trying to be competitive before I ever should have tried. You
gotta crawl before you walk. Yeah. So I mean, I think if I were going to kind of sum up this phase of getting into the hobby, it's don't rush to catch up to chase metas at this point. You're gonna have people in your group that are immediately like looking at tournaments. What's the list? Net listing things. If you want to play that way, play that way. Knock yourself out, but know that list is going to change on you.
Right. Well, then you also going to have shift. People who are like Josh, who's really good at reading a rule set.
Justin.
And immediately being able to go, oh, this is how you do this.
I see the combinations I can do here.
Right.
Most people are not that way.
No, they aren't. But and I'm blanking on his name. One of the guys from the Endgame group was like that. We could go into a brand new rule set. We'd say, oh, we're all going to start playing Malifaux or whatever. He would read the rules, come in, and just blow everybody away.
Andrew.
And
was it Andrew?
No.
Okay.
He was good at it too.
He was good.
Yeah. But just being able to see the kind of the big picture and have it crystallized for them.
Yeah.
Whereas for somebody like you and me, you need somebody to kind of walk you through and go, how does this work?
I need to play through and get my face punched a couple times to figure it out.
And you go, oh, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who right off the bat was be punching people in the face.
Like the first time I put my 1,000 Suns that Colin painted on the table, and it was like, oh, I need a screening in. Oops.
Yeah,
for sure. So I would say, also manage your purchases. You know, I mean,
Yes.
for years on this show, like purchases progress and blah, blah, blah.
They are.
And I stand by that. They are.
They
But
are.
if you'll notice, I don't talk about a lot of purchases I've
Right.
made anymore.
I didn't talk about some of mine. Yeah.
One, I have a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, you know, sitting around waiting. I don't know if I talked about purchases progress when I got the Chaos Knights that, you know, I worked out through you. I think I did. I think we did talk about that. But I mean, you know, manage that. Like, it's easy, as you see. I'm a perfect example of this, to get excited about new models and then buy them and be ready. And we've talked ad nauseum about the collecting aspect of this.
Right.
And then you wind up with a bunch of stuff that you're like, why do I have this?
Why do you
again?
even have this?
This was a
Right.
project I was very excited to do. Now I'm going to sell it and take a loss on it to sell it. So, you know, really, I don't want to say, you know, buy something and paint it before you buy something else. I think that's a little restrictive for my purposes. But, you know, if I'm not...
Well, but that was the rule that I had for Jake when he first started.
But if I'm
you
not-
can't buy something new till you have this painted.
Well, you're a dad managing your kids' finances. I'm a dad managing my finances. But my point is, like, if I'm not going to play with it soon now, I don't buy it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, honestly, those knights are sitting there unassembled still.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, the Hobby Progress Challenge is coming up. I said I'm going to do sisters for the Hobby Progress Challenge. I really want to get these knights assembled
Right.
too, you know, especially if somebody's going to paint them for me for a birthday present.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, you don't need everything right away. Remember, this isn't a destination,
Right.
right? Like once you get your whole army painted, guess what? They're either going to add more units to it, or you're going to be like, well, you know what? Looks cool. Towel look cool. You know, like nobody says that, but you know,
Yes, they do. Yes,
I'm
they
joking.
do.
I'm
Yes,
joking.
they do.
It's a very popular faction.
Yeah.
Like I'm totally being a jerk about it. You know, the reality is, it can be a lifelong journey. That's the whole point
Right.
of this episode. And,
Right.
and you know, we'll talk.
There is the rare person who buys an army and that's what they use
And that's
for
it.
years and years and years and years and years.
and they don't buy anything else.
They don't buy anything else. It's very rare,
Yeah.
but it does happen.
Yeah.
And then eventually Lars buys something else.
Lars has multiple armies.
I know he does.
And then you know, make sure you document your early hobby progress, right? Like one of the things that I did, my first paint job was terrible. You know,
I still have that model.
I
My
have
first
mine,
model.
I have mine too. I have a few of them. But as I've now gotten older and more experienced with this, when I paint something and I settle on my scheme, I document it thoroughly
Right.
and then mail it to myself. I keep a Google Photos directory
Right.
for each army that I have.
Right.
So that as we're going through the painting process, take Shell's Night Lords, for example.
Right.
There's pictures in there of her assembling the models, me assembling the models, us working with Caleb to learn how to paint them, you know, the various progress we're making painting them, you know, the paints, there's pictures of the paints, you know, all this kind of stuff has been very useful to go back and look at, but
Yeah.
also inspiring for me to go back and look at.
Yeah. I mean, I still do this. I'll finish a unit and then I'll put all the paints that I use for it behind it when I take a photo.
Smart.
But I've seen some other suggestions about ways that people document their paint schemes. And I'm like, oh, I need to be more specific.
I'll show you mine because what I do is I email it to myself.
Yeah.
And then I have a folder in my emails that
Right.
is like Warhammer paint schemes.
Right.
And I just drag it in there and it's like, here's my Sisters of Battle
Right,
paint scheme.
right.
Here's my, you know, Black Legion paint scheme.
Right.
And it tells you, here's the steps you do for the power weapon.
Right.
Here's the steps you do for the armor.
Right.
I've gone back to it multiple times. What colors did I use? Oh, I used this color with this number on
Right.
the color. Okay,
Right,
cool.
right.
So it's been very, very helpful. Yeah. And get involved with clubs, especially if you're in the UK, there's usually clubs, you know, friendly local game store events, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
The U.S. tends to be game stores.
Yeah, and this was my point, you know, earlier when we were talking about tournaments and that kind of thing. Like you can, like, once you have a basic grasp of the rules, is what I would say, feel free to join a tournament. Don't expect to win the tournament.
Right.
Like I make jokes all the time about the first time we did the coverage at Adepticon, and Matt Weeks is like, okay, we want to cover, the top tables and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, okay. I go, but Matt, what if I wind up at the top tables? He's like, so anyway, because there was no way.
No.
I wasn't even going to luck my way into the
No.
top tables. That
No.
would be if I was that lucky, I should sign up for the lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, yeah. So let's do this. Let's take a short break. Let's hear what Fish has to say, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
I'm Fish. I'm from Kentucky. My relationship with 40K started with Space Hulk and playing with my dad as a teenager. Rogue Trader in 40K, Epic were around, but never actually played it. It was always the idea of the game. So even post-college, when I got back into the hobby for 5th edition, I always had this romantic notion of army concepts. I rarely played, but in my head, I had a theme and a concept for the armies that I built. Standing away from the tabletop and the balance of the game, I was able to hold on to those wistful ideas behind the army because it always worked in my head canon. I never had to really test them on the table. And that holds true for me now, being much more of a painter and a collector. That's why I own over 2,000 points of 15 different factions and 31 different combat patrols. The idea of the army captures my attention and excitement, even if it's going to be absolute garbage on the field. As for advice to my younger self, don't have army envy. Warhammer's expensive, and the age range of folks who play it is wide. Now that I'm in my late 40s, I've got more disposable income to pick up whatever box comes out when I want. But I also remember the days of listening to early independent characters and hearing Carl talk about Forge World purchases and thinking, damn, that must be nice, because Forge World is so out of my financial reach. So just play the army you can afford, convert the things you need, and relish the army you have and make it your own. The other bottles will come. Just give it time.
So what do you think about Fish? What Fish had
What
to
an
say?
awesome voice. Is what I think about Fish. I think that one of the cool things is he talked about playing with his adult son.
Yeah, I knew that would resonate. with
Yeah, and because I just recently have been able to play with my son and his wife.
you. Yeah,
And so that's a really cool part of the journey to be on.
yeah.
But he also made a good point about his.
I wish my kid was interested.
Yeah,
They're not interested in the slightest.
but he talked about being primarily a painter and collector
yeah,
versus the community focus that Emily had.
yeah.
So that was kind of an interesting kind of juxtaposition. And I really also liked his point about don't have army envy.
Yeah.
How you can, you see somebody else who's doing really well with, I don't know, Chaos Knights. You go, oh, I want a Chaos Knight army.
I should do Chaos Knight.
I should do Chaos Knights. No, like what you like.
Yeah.
And kind of talk to yourself about why do I like this? Mm-hmm. And then lean into that.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I had played Space Marines for a long time, Ultramarines, because honestly, Tasty Taste came over here one time. He had borrowed Ultramarines from somebody, and I was like, those look gorgeous.
Right.
Like, those are stunning. And Space Marines get so many toys to play
they
with.
do.
Like, I just really, and then after a while, I realized, while I enjoy this, this is not really my play style. And Chaos
Right.
Space Marines just land right where I need them to for my enjoyment.
Right.
And you know what? Here's the thing with the way things change so quickly now, it's not like we're going 6 years without a codex any longer.
Right.
And so my time will come and go, and the balanced data slate just came out.
The quarterly updates.
That just came out. So you never know where those
Right.
things are going to land. Right
Right.
now, Thousand Suns are in a great position, you
Right.
know? So it's like, okay, don't, I think you summed it up well. Ask yourself, why are you playing this army?
Right.
The things that, first off, Fish also talked a lot about taking breaks.
Yeah.
And shifting his focus to
Right.
avoid hobby burnout by oh, I'm not playing right now, but I can read the books, or I can
Right.
paint, or I can, build army lists, or think
Or
about
listen to
what
the
I want.
Independent Character, one of the great 40K podcasts.
If I do say so myself. But don't feel pressure that I'm not playing, so I'm out.
Right.
I think there's that's one of the cool things about this hobby, and it becomes kind of a lifelong.
Because there's so many pillars to the hobby.
Yes. I wonder where I've heard that before.
Yeah.
The other thing that amazed me was when he's like, I've got 15 different 2,000 point armies. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that's a lot.
Well, and was it 30?
30
combat
kill
patrols?
teams. Yeah. Or, yeah. I was like,
Oh my
holy
God.
smokes, that's a lot. But then I felt guilty. I felt really bad about Forge World stuff. And in the show earlier, talking about all the Forge World stuff I was buying and how but there was a point when I was in the hobby where I looked at Forge World's site and I was like, this is a ridiculous price. Who would spend that much? And then a year later, my finances got better.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe
It's
I will
super
buy
cool.
a Forge World stuff. you know? And, unfortunately, the first hit was free. Like somebody bought me Terminator.
The Death Guard Terminators?
The Death Guard Terminator
Yeah.
conversion kits. And I was like, oh, well, now I got to buy
Yeah.
the other ones.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, thanks, Fish. I think you brought up some really interesting points, and it was great to hear about your journey. So let's talk, Don, about the middle phase. Like, this is where time becomes limited. We talked about this.
Yep.
Jobs, families, other commitments start to kind of take precedence, and responsibilities suck.
Yeah, I think you get the kind of, for a lot of people, it's high school, the opposite sex,
Oh, yeah.
and dealing with,
Oh, yeah.
this isn't cool enough. This isn't cool.
Yeah.
And wanting to kind of hide the fact that you're a
I've heard
nerd.
several people talk about this.
Yeah, well, I did that too.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. When I was early in the hobby, I was like, no. My dad started to say, oh, you should see this big hill thing. I was like, shh, quiet.
I was never like that.
Right. I was.
Yeah.
And I was in a profession where this kind of thing wasn't as cool.
Okay.
But for a lot of folks, that middle period is, like for my kids, high school, college,
Yeah.
focus on
Yeah.
sports,
Yeah.
music, and girls or boys or whatever.
Yeah.
And you kind of lose the time and desire to be painting plastic toy soldiers.
I mean, listen, once, there were times where I was playing things and then Shell joined the scene,
right.
and it was like, I'm not doing these other things anymore.
Right.
And it wasn't that I didn't, and eventually I went back to them, but it was just, this is new and exciting. And so
Right.
my focus has changed.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's a good point. That's a good
Right.
point. I think too, I list here that hobby becomes more intentional at that point. It's less about like my free time, my entire free time is now I can devote to this. It's like I have to kind of focus on when I'm going to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
I have to plan it more around the rest of my schedules. Games will become harder to schedule because friends are also doing things that
Yeah.
whether it's I'm on a date with a girl or a boy or whatever, or it's I have family obligations or things
Right.
that I have to do. Weekend campaigns have been a solution. Some of us still deal with this even in later phases where it's for us to run a campaign over 2-3 months is probably going to die on the vine. That's why this idea of like these weekend campaigns is like,
Yeah, I feel
generate
like
a
that's
lot of
more of a
interest.
veteran thing than a middle phase.
You think?
thing. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But no, I agree. I mean, and like I say, for a lot of folks, this manifests itself into going away to college
that's true.
or starting a
High
new
school.
profession or whatever. And so you get disconnected from the game group you used to play with or your models because they're at your parents' house.
I stopped doing the podcast when I got promoted to vice president.
There you go.
I'm not going to have time for this,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So things, I mean, I see that as kind of a lot of people's middle phase.
Yeah.
They'll start, as a middle schooler or, early high school. And then when it comes time to later high school, sports, music,
Opposite sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then college where you're
Or same
basically,
sex.
yeah. Right. Or you're going off to college. And so you literally don't have your models or your game group.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good point. That's a
Yeah.
very good point. And
People go off to the military.
well, for Dungeons and Dragons, I think I've told this story.
Yeah.
Like that was how I got into the unit I was going into. 'Cause like D&D books are
Right,
sticking out of my bag, but Yeah, I mean, I think too, as people kind of come back to the hobby, so this is
Right.
this middle phase is kind of when they're returning,
Right.
Usually after a break,
Right.
It's not everybody takes this break, but when they do,
A lot of people do.
Yeah, they may see their old models somewhere, or another friend has gotten into it, and I used to play that. Maybe there's so many books now, maybe they've come across books, so they start kind of thinking about, well, maybe I'll get back into this, or I need a hobby outside of work. Work is stressful, or
Right.
I need something constructive I can do. I think you get this kind of nostalgia thing that kicks in at that point,
Right.
where you're like, I used to really enjoy this. Why did I stop doing it?
Yeah, I wonder what Tom has to say about this.
Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Hey, this is Tom. I live in Northeast Tennessee, originally from Northern Virginia. And just how has my relationship with 40K and the hobby in general changed over the years? It's changed a lot. I started playing 40K when I was 15. So celebrating 30 years this year. When I started playing, me and my buddy were very competitive without knowing how to be competitive, and had countless arguments over silly things. We painted, read a lot of lore, looked at the pictures in White Dwarf, and imagined who would win based on the models in the picture. Just all the things a typical bunch of teenage guys would be doing. Had the philosophical questions about the Emperor, the Primarchs, the heresy. What did an Eldar Spirit Stone do? That kind of thing. It was great, and it still is. I'm almost 45 years old now. I've got a wife, kids, home, career. The hobby has evolved much into a lifestyle for me, much more focused. I spend time every day, whether it's reading, painting, occasionally playing, not nearly as much because, like I said, wife, kids, job. But I don't live with my buddy that I grew up playing with now, so those games that we get in are rare, but they're just so much more when we do get them in today. They're much more laid back. They're pretty chill. I equate it to Beer Hammer. It's great. I also get to play with my adult kid now. He's going to be 20 years old next month. It's awesome. He's got a huge orc army, which he didn't invest much money in, but that's all right. But in short, some things have changed. Some things haven't changed at all, including my love for this universe that not only Games Workshop created, but folks like us. But to the depth that's been created through 3 decades of experience has made a very happy place for me to go to. It's a great escape. So what would I tell myself, 30-year-old or 15-year-old Tom now? I'd say, chill out, dude. Don't argue about silly rules with your friends. Play the game, have fun. One of these days you'll be able to drink a beer with them, and it'll be so much better. Paint your dang models. And none of this stuff is taboo. Talk about it at work, talk about it at school, embrace that geek aspect, and just have fun with it.
Yeah. So having listened to that, I mean, there's a couple points we already hit on, like competition too early.
Yep.
Right. He fell in the same trap I did there, and my group did.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing he mentioned 2 things. First off, I'll talk about being proud of your hobby.
Yep.
Right. I get that some people, you said you were in a profession where it didn't matter. I was in a profession, I'm in the tech industry in Silicon Valley.
They're all a bunch of nerds.
I'm surrounded by nerds. But my boss wasn't a nerd.
Yeah.
And she was, this is my previous boss, and she was very, I don't want to say critical, but she would tease me about it.
Right.
You can go play with your army man. Yep, I am. And guess what? I need this week of vacation because I'm going to Chicago to play with my army men.
Right.
Like I didn't back down from that. I leaned into it.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think it was Tom I was talking to. I said, I had a 50th birthday party for Shell and I here, and we had probably 75 people at the house.
Right.
And we had people from all of our walks of life, family, friends, neighbors, work people.
Oh, and they came in and saw the models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found that the majority of them who had no interest in this and they knew I played, and they were like, oh yeah, he plays something, and he is a podcast, okay. Then they would come in and see it, and they'd be like, whoa, like I knew you were into it, but like I didn't know you were into it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them would be like, I don't understand, like how does this work? Like they had a curiosity, and we have to restrain ourselves from going, well, listen, 10,000 years before this happened, there was this guy Horus. right? Like you got to really restrain it. Well,
Yeah.
you know, we have these models, you assemble them. This is what they look like. Then you paint them and then you play armies against
Right.
each other. Well, how do armies work? Well, each unit has a certain number of points and you say, I'm going to play a 2,000 point game. You're going to play a 2,000 point game. In theory, that's balanced. You build your armies and then you use tape measures to determine if you're in range of the gun and did it hit by rolling dice and did it hurt them by rolling dice. And that's it. You know, and they're like, oh, okay. And most of them came over and they were fascinated by it.
Right,
Like
yeah.
genuinely curious, not just, you know,
Going to Tom's point about don't hide it.
yeah. And more so, like, again, as I said, you know, they're like, I knew you were into it, but you were this. It does become a bit of a lifestyle thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it can be so encompassing. I don't know many people who just dip their toe into it and they're like, yeah, I occasionally pop in and play a game. It's like, no, I read the books and I know how the rules work. Like it's almost not, you're almost not able to just like lightly play it.
I do know people who they have never played a game
Okay.
and they've never read any of the books,
Okay.
but they love to paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would say they're probably very passionate about their painting,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But they don't.
When was the last time, other than Space Hulk at Adepticon, Caleb played a game of 40K?
Yeah, I don't know.
He reads some of the books
Yeah. But
and he paints.
right, but that's part of his profession though. I mean,
Well, it's become part of his profession. This is my point. Like it became encompassing to the point where he was like,
yeah.
now I'm going to turn it into a profession.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
interesting.
you know anybody that's just like, I'm a light 40K player? Oh yeah. I have an army here at home. I pull it out occasionally and play. If they do, I would bet you they're playing other games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
yeah, I have a 40K army. If
Yes.
everybody's getting, Tom would fall into this example.
Yes.
Tom was not playing
Blake.
a lot of 40K.
Blake, Mike Montesa, they're like, yeah, they
Right,
play a bunch of
but
other
they're
games.
playing other
Yes,
games and
yes.
miniatures games.
Yes.
Right?
yes.
Blake is playing Conquest.
Right,
Right. Okay.
right.
So I mean, the hobby, when I say that, Games Workshop does not own the hobby.
Right. Well,
They like to tell you they do. But the hobby for me includes any of
yes.
these types
Any
of
of these types of things. Yeah.
things. So yeah. Anyway, that was my take. Anything you want to pull out there, Tom?
No, I think we covered most of it. I think
Yeah.
the whole thing about being the advice to, chill out
Yeah.
and be a little, don't argue about the 2.5 inch drop.
Yeah, right. I think, tips for this stage, the returning stage or middle stage or whatever you want to call it. Like you have with every stage, you have the temptation to collect more than you can manage.
Yeah.
And that goes to space as well.
Oh, yes.
Right, Adon?
Yes. As somebody who's moving again and having to move my entire extra bedroom
And I think
full
about
of
how much stuff you got rid of before you moved last time.
Oh, I know.
And I have to imagine, like anything, like water, it just fills whatever empty space.
Empty space you have. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I think this is a great time to embrace like slow grow projects.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna do this army, and I'm gonna do it a little bit at a time. I'm gonna build 1,000 points so I can play with it.
Or you pull out your old stuff
Yeah.
and see what you need to do to refresh it.
Yeah, like your Mordian.
Right.
Guys.
Yes.
Has that lit a fire under you to like be like, maybe I could just like get them converted over like a 10th edition army?
Well, I was looking, how do
That's
I
what
do,
I'm saying.
Yeah, how do I do that? And I wrote a couple different lists. I still want to put 6 heavy weapons teams in a Stormlord.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Yes, I think at this point you need to start being more realistic about setting hobby goals.
Yep.
I'm going to do a squad a month. I'm going to join the Hobby Progress Challenge and do 1 unit a month, whatever that unit is.
And if you do that every month, you can earn points to actually win prizes at the end of the Hobby Progress
which
Challenge.
increases your pile of progress, your pile
of opportunity.
Pile of opportunity.
Yep.
You can involve, if you're lucky, friends and family in the hobby. In our case, like
Kids.
kids. I used to pay my kid $1 a sprue to clip everything off the sprue, and then they got upset when I was like, "You need to clip it off like this. You can't."
Fine, the money's not worth it.
$1 a sprue.
Yeah.
I'll cut stuff off for a buck of sprue. 50 sprues. Like it was what was left on the sprue.
Right.
It wasn't like
for the bits.
first thing you go through is pile up all the ones with a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of one of those pieces where
Well, I can't believe you're actually gaming the buck of sprue thing.
we're gamers.
Yeah, true.
I told Shell this with the Hobby Progress Challenge. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to write up this thing. It'll be like this." I'm like, "Be very careful."
There's 150
People
gamers
won't
involved.
I go, "Trust me."
Yeah.
We're gamers. They're going to take advantage of it. She's got her headset. I was going to go. Anyway, I'm lucky in that Shell does get involved with this.
Yeah.
Friends get involved in this.
Yeah.
Blake often talks on the Life After Cover Save jokes about paint jam. Oh, we should do a paint jam.
Yeah.
I love paint jams.
Yeah.
I love, like, let's get together for the day and everybody to sit out and paint whatever. Because then you're talking and you're social. And the whole point of this stupid thing for me is to be social with people.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Right.
And learn to let go of FOMO.
Yeah.
Let go of FOMO. It's a trap.
Yep.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
It's a beautiful trap. It's a wonderful trap.
I've been a victim of it my entire
I have an entire
career.
extra bedroom full of
FOMO. I am now I'm immune to it at the moment. I think for almost everything. Like I'll feel a twinge of it and then be like, "Nah, I don't need that." Especially when it comes to collector's edition stuff now.
Yeah.
And the Siege of Terror broke me.
Yeah.
Like that did. That was I was like, that is it. I'm out. I'm out. I got it all. I'm done.
Well, I noticed that like the latest thing that just came out for pre-order today is Danny Ware's special edition of the 3 Sisters novels. And like,
I'm good. I'll get it on Kindle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I already read them. I've already read them,
but also like at this point, space is a factor as well. And it's just like, and I think the other lesson I learned was around 6th, 7th edition when I bought the Chaos Space Marine Collector's Codex, which is beautiful. And then it was immediately, and I'm like, what am I doing with this collect? And I didn't want to use it because it was so, it was just like, what am I doing?
Right.
I've not bought a collector's edition Codex since. And I mean, more power to you if you want to.
Right.
But try to get out of it. All right, and then that leads us to the veteran status. And before we leap into this, let's see what Andrew has to say.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good morning. My name is Andrew. The whole reason I even responded was because it was a very thought-provoking prompt you gave me. My hobby started with me being drug into it, honestly, by a friend of mine. Played in the HeroClix group and on Saturdays at the local game store near one of the bases I was stationed at when I was active duty. And afterwards, we had an anime group get-together type thing. And he was sitting there talking to me, and I was really enjoying watching a series, one of the Gundam anime series at the time. And he was like, all right, well, if you like this, you're going to really like to try this. And he pointed me at the Tau army in 40K. In order to get me in, he had to drag me down and actually get me to play a game using his Tau versus his Necrons, which at the time were just stupidly hard to kill from across the map with the shooty army of the Tau. But it kind of got me hooked with the whole, I can reach out and touch something with a big honking railgun. So that's what I did. Since then, I don't play HeroClix anymore. Got rid of it years ago. Sold everything. Got rid of all of it. Anime, I'll watch some every once in a while, but mainly it's stuff that I've seen before. 40K, on the other hand, I still build lists for different armies. I still read the codexes. I still play games like Space Hulk's one of my big ones I like and enjoy playing either digitally or physically when I get the time and have the chance. Kill Team's fun for quicker games, but 40K larger games are really kind of the way I like to go. Or, like before I was talking to you, listening to one of the books, playing video games, that kind of thing. Just the world, the factions, the lore, just all kind of reached out and was like, this is interesting. And I can see different things that pique my interest from just every which way that I can go at it. I've moved on from Tau, I've moved on from anime, I've moved on from Gundam, but I still am in 40K. I'm still into the Warhammer setting, but my primary army has gone to Space Marines. And honestly, big one for that, just due to the models for kit bashing, customizing, things like that. When I got into the hobby and I was single, military person, had money that I didn't have to worry about spending, to now being 20 years older, married, kids, lots of responsibilities. I'm sure you've been there. And The things I look for are stuff that I can do and make customized or fun and paint up or put together and play a quick game without it taking a lot of time away from my family all the time or things like that. And then like looking back at it when your question popped up, it was like, well, what would I tell my younger self? Well, when I got into the hobby, I wanted to get everything for my faction. I could, at the time, Tau, not a whole lot of stuff in their line. Easy to get every model in the faction and have multiples of it and be cool and fun to go with. Space Marines, on the other hand, were a whole other ball of wax and a massive amount of stuff more. And so getting everything for their faction, not exactly easy to do. I needed over years to realize that I don't have to buy everything for a faction. I can be okay with, I can afford this model kit or I can afford this book. I don't have to go, oh, I want this limited edition everything. It's nice to get them. I love being able to get them. And sometimes I do set aside money to specifically get like the limited edition Space Marine Codex or the limited edition Tau Codex. But I don't have to do that. And I don't have to try to buy everything when it comes out, the day it comes out. I can hold off. I can wait a little bit and work on what I already have in my collection and paint it and get it done and be able to use it. And when I was getting into the hobby, it was hard to find games where people were wanting to play what I was hoping for. I came from primarily like the HeroClix setting, which was geared more around towards like dynamic team versus team action and kind of building a story on the table, and then a D&D background. I wanted that storytelling aspect. When I got into the hobby, tail end of 4th edition, beginning of 5th, all the way through to 10th edition, when I have kind of petered back on playing a lot right now and more focused on like building or reading or listening to books, was really focused on the local scenes. Were focused on like tournament stuff. And while it was enjoyable for getting the amount of games in, I found casual play was way more to my liking, especially casual play with a focus on like having 2 or 3 or more interlinked games that would lead into a storyline and make it a scenario of some sort, and having those moments where I have a Tau warrior going up against a Tyranid hive fleet that ends up going up against a Tyranid warrior squad and just stands there and tanks it because he makes his armor saves for some unknown reason for 3 rounds. That was what I was looking for. I was looking for those moments where you had the scenario play, where you had story-driven stuff. The hyper-competitive can be fun, but it can be very draining, and I found that I don't like the person I become because I get hyper-competitive and I become very rules lawyery and things like that. Casual play sometimes can be a little too casual with some people. And versus like for me, like I said, having a scenario was much more what I was after. And that was what I had to realize as an older player. And if I could tell my younger self, it would be that I don't have to play the game modes I don't want to play. I don't have to play with people that don't bring out the best in me. And to just enjoy it. Listen to a book, listen to a podcast. There are going to be times when you don't want to touch a model. You don't want to pick it up and play a game, but there are other things you can do in the hobby to keep yourself engaged with it and enjoying it without necessarily everything having to be, I have to go buy this model, buy this greatest thing. Slow down, take a breath, take a breather, and just try to find the facets and things that at different stages of where you're at that you can enjoy.
Yeah, so a couple things resonated with me. The whole thing starting with HeroClix. That's where my kids started with.
I caught that as well.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
It resonated with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Tau, because Spencer, who still plays, he started with Tau because of Transformers.
Yep.
And he has the 8, Farsight and the 8, all painted as Transformers.
Well,
still to this day.
I think Andrew fell into the classic trap for Tau players, which is I like anime.
Yeah.
Oh, Tau look like anime. That's very much intentional.
Yes.
Very much intentional.
And you have to
great.
see it. Right.
I'm not knocking that. Like, yeah, there's
But the other thing he said that really I thought was really, really good point is, and I think it was the advice to himself, the younger self, you don't have to play everything and you don't have to play everyone.
That is true.
You know, if you have people you're playing against and they make it not fun for you, you do not have to play against them.
No. And as we go into veteran status, like you have to be willing to say, look, you and I are both not going to enjoy this game.
Right.
How about we go play other people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's
easier.
It was his veteran advice to his younger self.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
Right, it's his veteran advice to his younger self, and you're going to have that one game of uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
When you get partway through the game, you realize, oh, this is not my vibe. This is a disaster, and then you have to be, veteran enough to say, yeah, I know I'm good. And I've said to people, you know what, your outlook on this is way different than mine.
That's a great way of putting it.
And I
think we play this game for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, like I said, I was doing events and things like that. In fact, I would recommend we talk about this middle phase. I think that RTTs, 1-day tournaments, are actually not a bad way to kind of restart into something, right? You get the new edition. Oh, I haven't played since 4th or 7th or 8th or whatever. Now it's 10th. Try out a few games, then go to an RTT at a LGS and, kind of get back into it. It's a good way to kind of reestablish a game group. I'm not saying your first game should be at an RTT.
Nope.
But going to an RTT, a 1-day event, can be a good way to kind of reestablish yourself in a game community.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
But yes, you don't have to play against everyone.
No, I think that was a really important point for him to make, and I couldn't agree more. And that's fine. That's fine. There's a lot of people playing this game, and a lot of people play it for different reasons. And if you're not gelling with somebody or the style of play or whatever, find what it is you enjoy. Time is too limited, especially as you enter the veteran stage.
Well, it's kind of like what you've said, keep your hobby kind of social and creative, not obligatory.
Yeah, that's a really, did I say those words?
Yes, you did.
I said, I did. Wow.
It's good.
That's
pretty really good. And you didn't even put that through Chat GPT. That was just you.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Look at me. Look at me being all smart. I mean, for me, this period has been about reconnecting with narrative play, the painting challenge that we got going on.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest, like that would not be run if it weren't Shell running it.
Right.
I've several of the people that gave us their testimonials, thank Shell for that. And I want to thank her too, because if she were not running, we would not be doing this right now.
Right.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Except Shell, apparently. And I will tell you, the other day, or it was earlier today, she goes, there's too many people in this thing. It's like, because it's near 300 people. And I'm like,
Is it that high now?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very, very high. So
well, it's interesting because the first couple, either Loopy or I were doing a lot of the administration of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of that back then was kind of, you did it yourself.
Yeah.
You were self-recording.
Policing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, look, I think
More power to her.
This is also a great time to start mentoring other players. By this point, you're super established in this.
We're talking about
veteran status.
Oh, we're going to veteran status. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like at this point, you are, you're very well established. You are, be the kind of person that you wanted to play against.
Right. Yep.
Be friendly.
Yep.
Be open to.
Be Matt Estes.
Right? Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I'll reiterate that event that you and I met at.
Yeah.
It's all come back to me. I do remember playing you at that event. I also, I think in that event, I played Matt Estes. He was the ringer, and they were missing somebody, and he played his Purple Sisters of Battle, and I crushed him. And I think he let me crush him now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, as the ringer, yeah.
Because he's a very good player.
Yeah.
Also, at Death Guard, I was rolling very well in those days.
That event, also, I played like a 13-year-old kid, or a 12-year-old kid who was playing a Sisters Army, who didn't really know the game very well.
Yeah.
And afterwards, his dad came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, thank you so much."
Yeah.
The way your attitude towards him and the way you did that. Yeah. And it was, I was kind of like, I was channeling my inner Matt Estes, right?
Yeah.
And I was remembering how he treated me at Celesticon.
Yeah.
And, and it's like you say, you want to model the behavior that you would have liked to have seen when
sure.
you were first starting out.
For
right?
sure. I mean, this was, as I said, I played Matt, but this was also the same event where I tried to introduce myself to a group of people that clearly were a group of people and knew the tournament organizers and got just like absolutely snubbed.
Right.
And for me, that was a moment where I said, okay, I'm never going to be like that.
Right.
Like if anybody asks me for help, I'm always going to be willing to meet people and help them.
And in the veteran status, this is where you end up doing stuff like Doc running events or me running events or whatever.
Oh,
you start running events and you start, kind of creating the events you would like to participate in, just like being the player you'd like to play against. Right. This is when I started running events at Endgame and the big apocalypse events.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
And the map-based campaigns and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And I mean, your reasons for playing may also change. I remember when we were up at Endgame and we were playing heavily and Zach was on the show. And we were going to Kubla Khan. And I want to say Jeff and I were going to play in a tournament and we were trying to convince Zach to come play in a tournament. And Zach's like, I'm not interested in playing tournaments. I played in tournaments, blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested. And we're like, come on, it's fun and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it was years later that like I reached the state where I was like, I see why Zach was saying that. And
he had done a bunch of GTs before.
And I see why he felt the way he felt at the time about the game. And it was like, I reached that point. Like he had been playing for years longer than I had.
But it's interesting also, there are also people who, when they get to this veteran status, you're like, you know what? I feel like I know the game well enough. I'm going to go jump into the big pool.
100%. Like,
right?
and yeah, 100%. I agree that like, this is also the time where you're like, all right, I
have a good base underneath me.
I have it all underneath me. I'm ready to go throw down.
Yep.
Let me do it. And different strokes for different folks. Yeah. Like whatever you want to do.
And this is the thing. I think that as a veteran, you finally get to the realization of, okay, what do I think of as fun? And what do I think of as fun might be
a good point.
Being at the highest level I can be against people who are also at the highest level they can be. That to me is fun.
Fun could be, I want to have the artistry of what I'm putting on the table look the best I can possibly make it.
Right.
It could be, I want to run an event that is the most fun for people.
Right.
You are absolutely right.
Right. You get to that veteran status and you're like, you can finally kind of gel in your brain. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What do I find fun? What do I find satisfying about this? Right. And like I was running an event and someone's like, don't you want to play? I'm like, actually, no, I'm good. I really get a lot of joy out of watching people play and having a good time, stuff like that. I didn't need to play.
Right.
Do you want to be the ringer? No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I really enjoyed just running this thing.
And orchestrating
it and walking around and giving people the poker chips for their
The thing is, you were in a state with the game at that point that you can also, you can offer, judgment on, events or, occurrences that are happening during the game, but you can also modify that you're comfortable enough with the game. You can modify things by saying, oh, I'm going to give you this bonus thing. Or I'm gonna,
Well, and also like not this last year, but the year before, I got to be one of the paint judges.
Right.
For the Rusty Nurgling at the cafe. And it was really interesting because I was able to draw on this quote unquote veteran status. I'm in a veteran I feel like I'm in a veteran status now. But having spent time talking to people who had competed in painting competition and or judged painting competitions, where I learned from them the kinds of things they looked for and the things, don't get caught into the trap of, oh, this is shiny, so it's good.
Right.
Here's the things to actually look for when you're judging a painting competition. And I had a lot of trepidation about it. But once I got into it, I was like, okay. Yeah, I get this now.
Yeah. So I think, a few tips for kind of staying inspired at this point is, I think we've touched on a very important one, like, share your knowledge in a way, like running events, doing those kinds of things. If you want to refocus and use the skills that you have now to exceed in where you haven't exceeded before, say events or, tournaments or that kind of thing, hit it, man. Create campaigns. You can feel at this point you're probably feeling comfortable tinkering a bit with the rules for events and campaigns and that kind of thing. I'm not saying changing fundamentally like all Space Marines get a 2+ armor save, but I'm saying where you can tweak things and where you can't, to make sure that people are enjoying what they are playing, and I would say you've probably also gathered a number of people around you that have a similar like mindset, or maybe a different mindset, but you respect each other's mindset on that and can draw.
And you can draw from that.
Yeah. So all right, so let's do this. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with part 2, but we'll launch that off with the testimonial from Ben. Yeah. So we'll be right back.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I just finished a tank weathering class with Justin from
Hey, Travis, that's great. But Blake and I came up with the greatest event ever.
Really? I'm all ears.
All right, tell him, Ed. But start with the best part.
Okay, it's a 40K GT, and the best part is it takes place on the beach.
But
I know what you're going to say. How can you enjoy the beach when you're playing all day long? Here's the best part. It's only 2 leisurely 3.5-hour matches per day.
Yes, but
let me stop you right there, Travis. The best part is this is an all-inclusive 4-day, 3-night retreat with lodging and 10 meals included for only $400.
I know, because
I haven't got to the best part yet, Travis. The best part is it's in Hawaii.
Guys, that's great, but it's already being done.
Really?
Yes. War on the Shore is a GT that takes place from January 8th to the 11th in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, and it incorporates everything you've already said. But you want to know what the best part is?
What?
It's for charity.
For more information, head to tablewarcharities.org/events and aloha.
Hey guys, I'm Ben. I'm Ben D on the Independent Characters Discord, and I'm coming at you live from just a little bit north of Birmingham, Alabama. Really small community. If you blink, you'll miss us. We don't have a red light. My relationship with 40K, it has waxed and waned. It really depends on the stage of life where you caught me. I got into it in 1998. The only reason I remember that is because it was 6th grade. My dad got me a Hobbytown USA gift certificate because we had always been a board gaming family, like Risk, Stratego, Axis and Allies, that kind of thing. And my dad loved the analog stuff. They had a huge Games Workshop section, Battlefleet Gothic, Fantasy, the metal blisters. I can see them right now, the 40K blisters. And I saw this starter paint set with 5 Space Marines, and I think 5 paints and 3 brushes. And the only reason I recognized it was because the summer before that Christmas, my cousin and I had been playing the board game Space Crusade from Milton Bradley, and they were the exact same models. And I was like, wait, you mean I can paint these how I want, and there's an entirely separate game from the board game? I'm sold. I can have flamethrowers in a board game. This is incredible. Me and my friends, we got really hot and heavy there in the beginning. Like I said in my email, we didn't dip our toes in. We cannonballed into the pool because we were young. We had a lot of free time. We would spend the night at each other's houses. We would create our own scenarios. Didn't really care about points. Didn't really care about sides being even. It was just, this sounds cool. Let's try this. Hey, let's grab all these books and we'll make like a canyon, and player 1, your job is to get your force to the end of the canyon. Player 2, your job is to stop them from getting to the end of the canyon. Did we have even points? Did we play with all of the right rules? Absolutely not. But did we have fun? Absolutely. And, the whole time, like, we would have a group over here playing, a group over here building and painting, and we would go back and forth. Like, it was really, really fun. Then I hit high school. My time commitments changed, my priorities changed, and I kind of fell away from the game until about my senior year of undergraduate. I went into a store randomly, saw 40K miniatures, and it triggered something in a memory in my brain. Like, I remember that game. It's still around. What's this new faction called Tau? I've never heard of them before, because I got out around 4th edition. I didn't know who these people were, but they look really cool and futuristic. And then I moved back in with my parents for my graduate school and found out my mom hadn't thrown away any of my old 40K stuff, even the unpainted. So I got back into miniature wargaming through painting that and being back around a local gaming store that was really big into Flames of War at the time, of a World War II game, but also there was some 40K going on too. And I realized at that point, this is really fun and relaxing. And why haven't I been doing this in this whole interim period? I've kind of been on a 40K hiatus for a while. I did recently finish a Demon Prince because it's been staring at my desk unpainted and unfinished for almost a year and a half. And I was like, I need to finish this. But it's one of those things where I have to be playing the game to really be motivated to paint a squad. I had my pandemic project of my Kit Bash Black Legion. Honestly, I almost got burnt out on the hobby, and painting and building models is my main engagement with it. And I really didn't want to lose that. So I just stepped away. I'm married. I've got 3 kids. I coach football in the state of Alabama, which is the stereotype. It's a big job. Teach middle school kids. I have a lot of time commitments, and the nearest gaming store that had a regular group is an hour's drive away from me one way. And I just didn't feel right, telling my wife, look, I'm going to be gone for the next 5 hours. Have fun with the kids. I stepped away for a while so I didn't get burnt out. I took my now 7-year-old to a store, told him he could pick out any model he wanted to. So he picked out an Incredible Hulk model for Crisis Protocol because he has an attachment to that IP and not so much the 40K IP. And now I've come back to it, playing it in my house, kind of like we did in middle school. Are we playing the right rules? No. What I would tell my younger self, if I could go back, number one, don't get away from the hobby. You have no idea, past self, how much this is going to help your mental health in the future. This is as much therapy for you now as it is a hobby. Number two, dude, you enjoy this stuff. Don't worry about what other people may or may not think about what you enjoy doing for fun. Just do it and thin your paints. Please, for the love of all that's holy, thin your paints and don't use those testers that your dad tried to get you to use. They're not very good.
All right. So Ben had some interesting points and things we actually kind of just touched on previously, like falling in and out of the hobby and, choosing different ways to play the hobby. He did make one point I thought was really salient, which was his I think he said therapy as a hobby.
Yeah, hobby as a therapy.
But hobby as a therapy is probably the right.
Yeah.
I just wrote it down backwards. But hobby as a therapy is an interesting point. Like, I have run across many people now.
Many people
who say, "Oh, it lets me focus on something else. I get lost in what I'm doing."
It's an aspect of your mental health.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, 40K, yes, can fill that need. There are a lot of hobbies that can do that for people. This is one that you can attack in so many different ways that you can kind of choose your flavor and what works for you.
Well, I'll tell you, this is one of the things, and I think the episode way back when, years and years and years ago, we did an episode with wives.
Yeah.
One of the things that Kim was really focused on when I was kind of getting into this is that she really liked the fact that it was completely separate and different from my profession.
Uh-huh.
And there was a lot of people in my profession who they did everything at work and socially with the same group of people.
Yeah.
So they were always with the same group of people, and it was this kind of
tight knit.
Yeah. And so she really liked the fact that I was completely separate from that, and I was doing something that was completely different, and she felt like it was a good mental health thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good observation. Yeah, that's a really good observation.
The other thing that he talked about, which I thought was really fun, because they were, a bunch of 11-year-olds, and they were doing their own kind of self-made adventures. Kind of, you talk about it, kind of using the books and making the canyon, and were they using the right rules? No. And now he's with his 7-year-old. Are we using the right rules? No.
Yeah.
But it's cool, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And actually, I was very jealous. Like, as he described that, I kind of got nostalgic for when I was younger in junior high and high school, going over to my friend Mark's house.
Yeah.
And we'd play D&D all night.
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody's doing that at this age anymore.
Well, when I was a kid, my brother and I.
We have to set up entire weekends we call geekends to do that now.
Yeah.
And even then, we're like, I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Well, my brother and I, we used to we would be up for hours, and we were using Hot Wheels and G.I. Joes and stuff like that. We weren't doing Warhammer, but it was just the same idea where you're just creating your own adventures, and your imagination just runs
for
wild.
Sure. For sure.
That was fun.
I did appreciate also the mention of Space Crusade.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah. And I mean, so I wanted to talk a little bit about cross-generational hobbying. And this is probably the number one reason we've had one person touch on it so far, but also you touched on it a little bit. But this is kind of where, your kids or kid has now, you're playing with him and
right.
It's kind of passed on, like you made your own. You made your own opponent. Yeah. And I unfortunately don't have that. I have my wife doing it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
hobbying as a family activity is yeah. And a lot of that, like I started, we would do, Sunday morning painting things when they were little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, use whatever you want. Hey, Dad, that's a chameleon skink. Can I paint it different colors? Paint it whatever colors you want, dude.
Yeah.
And it was, in fact, we had a listener who just posted photos of his kids. His 4-year-old had just done like the 3 paint kit Marines. And I was loving that.
Yeah. Shell loves that stuff.
It was so good.
Yeah. She loves that stuff too.
But that's the kind of thing you start them on that journey, and maybe it's something that they end up liking and maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But it's an activity that you can enjoy with them because little kids like to paint.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing is I think about it too, talking cross-generational. My father is a scuba diver, an avid scuba diver. He is currently
in Belize,
76 years old. He's in better physical condition than I am. He is probably at some point going to go out scuba diving and just not come back in.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, okay, well, Dad's, he went doing what he loved.
Yeah.
I just saw Jaws in the theater, the 50th anniversary. So it's my kid's favorite movie. We went and saw it in the theater, and we leave, and Caspian goes, that hits a lot harder in a big screen. I'm like, yes, that first shark attack against that girl is pretty frightening. But here's my point. He goes out scuba diving. It is incredibly rare that I see a kid out there scuba diving with their father.
Really?
Like, and I mean a kid younger than, 18, 17. Right. I have seen it, especially in free diving, where we were free diving for abalone and stuff. Right. And I've gone out with my father and done this. But in this hobby, we go to an event such as Adepticon, and you have people that are at the upper end of gray.
Yep.
To kids that are 13, 12 or younger.
Yeah.
Coming in to play. And it's
at the game store, at the GW store, you'd have people as young as, like I was saying, 5 or 6.
For sure.
Yeah, coming in.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. It's got to be fascinating to walk in and see the stuff on the shelf at that age.
Yeah.
And just have your mind blown.
Yeah. And then have the guy go, oh, here, you can paint one for free.
Yeah, for sure. Let me hook you. As he winks to the mom.
Hey. First hit's free.
I think the point there is that you're going to, in this hobby, you're going to run across multiple perspectives, and you're going to have to understand that you're communicating across multiple generations as well.
Yeah.
During the 40K Flex, I played a much younger opponent there whose attention drifted, at certain points. I'd be like, hey, we're playing the game here.
Right.
You there, and that's okay. I was fine. I mean, would I want that to be my entire Adepticon experience? No, but I respected the fact that he was there. He had done a lot of work on his models.
Right.
He had organized his rules. He had them in a binder.
Nice.
Yep. And I'm like, this is impressive, man.
Yep.
Let's do it. And we made it through 3 rounds before he, the
vapor locked.
Yeah, vapor locked on that, and that's okay.
But the beauty of that is that could be a great jumping off point for him. His experience now is could have been really, it could have ended up being really bad, right? But the fact that somebody was willing to be open and accepting and supportive.
Yeah. I
super
mean,
important.
I remember playing Dungeons and Dragons with my kid and some of their group of friends early on. And one of these kids, Luke, on the spectrum, which there have been tons of great, studies around role-playing games and people on the spectrum, how it helps.
Yeah.
I remember Luke coming in and he had the initial, they had to be 11 or 12, and he had the initial, I'm going to steal from you and I'm going to stab this person in the back. And finally I pulled Luke aside and I was like, hey, Luke, the point of this game is that you're working together to overcome challenges I'm putting in front of you.
Right.
I mean, it's really about working as a team.
Right.
And he was like, oh. And then the next time we played, he's like, I brought a new character. Can I play this character? And it was like a total light
180
switch. Yeah, for him. And he was like, okay, how can I help? And
that's fantastic.
And, as my kid was graduating high school, I heard from Luke was running D&D games for a group of people.
Yep.
And it's like, all right,
Yep.
that's super exciting. We need to recognize that it covers multiple generations at this point. We want it to.
Yeah.
We want it to. If it doesn't, it dies out.
Yep.
And so we gotta, as we get older, we get set in our ways a little bit.
Yep.
But also the younger generation also needs to, we need to respect that they're coming into the hobby and they have different avenues into the hobby. They also need to respect we've been in the hobby for a while. We have knowledge we can share and we're happy to share it. And we should be happy to share that knowledge without talking down to people.
Right.
I think that's so important.
Right.
Yeah.
Not lecturing, but supporting.
I want to be the cool older guy as I get older. I don't want to be old at all, but there's no stopping that.
No, the alternative is not good.
No. So, you got any advice to younger players
To younger players?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't laugh at my paint jobs.
That's messed up. That's for the old people laughing at your paint job.
No, the young players, yeah.
Have you had them laugh at your paint job?
It's like, you've been in the hobby how long? And that's how they look? It's like, yes.
I think that younger players, if I were to give anybody advice, like we've kind of covered some of that advice already. But, I think the number one thing that came out of this for me as we have vocalized the notes and stuff is that it really is a journey. There's not a destination with this game. There's not.
Right.
It's hey, I'm going to build the Griffins of Justice. It's going to be an entire chapter of Space Marines. Okay. Then what? There's always going to be the next thing.
Yeah. Well, then they all got legended.
Well, because they're not Primaris.
Right. But they exist. I have them.
Listen, I've got a massive Minotaurs army that I'm never going to play. It's all first gen Minotaurs. Right. But I think the biggest piece of advice would be just, it's a journey. Settle in.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Pace yourself.
You know what? Cody had some great advice as well.
Yeah.
When we talked to him.
All right. Well, let's see what he had to say.
Hello, my name's Cody. I'm calling from Oklahoma. The email that you sent out, how has my relationship with 40K changed over the years? A lot. I started playing back in like 95, right when 3rd edition was coming out. And for me, it was literally like show up to the game store, play my game, go home. I'd build models and paint models here and there, but really it was a game. Over the years, it's obviously grown to me and changed, and it's gotten so much better that everything about it is just, oh my gosh. I mean, I've been through the dark times of 6th and 7th edition, and then now we're riding high in 10th edition. It's amazing. But that is the amount of friends that I've made over the years, and all of the different stuff that I've done is just, I can't say it's just so good. What advice would I give to my younger self? I mean, loads, but honestly, I take notes of my games better. Like, I have forgotten so many amazing games that I've played over the years. And thankfully, Not to plug, but the Goonhammer app is amazing at keeping track of all that stuff. It reminds you to take pictures, all that fun stuff. So it's been great. That's what I would definitely tell myself is just try to log more of those memories.
Yeah. So first of all, I was laughing about 6th and 7th edition being the dark times.
Yeah, I played more 7th edition than most games.
Yeah.
Although I would say Horus Heresy was the best way to play 7th edition in my mind.
Yeah, it was a better way to play 7th.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, one of the things that he used as advice to his younger self is take notes of your games.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of goes back to my little battle journal that I have.
Yeah.
And
like I said, you left it here one day, and I was flipping through. I'm like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, it is really.
I didn't know
it was
Don
kind of
felt
like
that way.
accidental, but it's a really cool thing to be able to take those notes, and things like that. And he's right. The Goonhammer website, the app for I think it's called
Tracking
Battle.
I don't remember the actual name of it. I have.
don't
Oh,
remember
hang on, I have it installed on my phone.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, the Goonhammer app is fantastic.
And it has the thing about it. It actually reminds you to take photos and stuff like that. And so you actually have a record of the games that you played.
Yeah.
I do it with my battle journal. There's lots of different ways to do it, but I think it's a great piece of advice for younger, newer players. Not necessarily young, but newer players.
Yeah.
As you start on your 40K journey or gaming journey in general, make notes, take some photos, jot down some thoughts. And I think it's a great way to kind of look back and kind of, re-enjoy those experiences.
The Tabletop Battles app.
Tabletop Battles, that's right.
Because here's this record where I beat Bryce really bad.
Really bad.
Chaos Space Marines versus Tyranids initially. And then here's where I lost to Bryce's Tyranids. Really bad.
Really bad, yeah.
So, this is a good, that's a great
I love
point.
that.
The other thing that he tapped on again was friends.
Yeah.
And this is where it resonated with me again, that friends are important in this game.
Yep.
Like the whole point of this is to be social and to make friends.
And I think a lot of people have talked about this, but you can create lifelong friends.
For sure.
I know both you and I have.
Yeah.
So, in fact,
however
you
long
and I.
that is. However long that life is.
Right.
So
wait a minute, was that an old joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For both of us, though.
Okay.
So before we get into Dan's comments here, I also talked a little bit about hobby longevity toolkit.
Love toolkits.
Just practical tips for staying engaged.
But don't go overboard on tools.
Don't buy tools. You don't have to buy any of these. These are free.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great.
So keep things fresh.
Yep.
Try new formats for the
Boarding
game.
actions.
Boarding actions is fantastic.
Man.
Zone Mortalis
And
is still...
this is also a great suggestion for veteran players where you are maybe more money available and less time available.
Yeah.
Things like boarding actions and kill team are great because they're smaller formats. They're quicker to play.
Yeah. Yeah, the terrain, though.
I love it.
It's gorgeous. Assembling is not...
It doesn't take that long. It's good.
Aaron got a couple of the boxes of the Necron.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Do you know if it works with the...
No, it doesn't.
Are you kidding? It
not
looks like
compatible.
it should.
It's similar size, but it's not. It does not interlock
That's a real bummer.
because it's a different season. Don't look at me like that.
Okay.
I'm not in this. I'm not in the
Don't
company
defend
anymore.
it. Don't you defend that. That is a poor decision.
I didn't say anything.
It's a different season.
You shouldn't be afraid to step away and then come back
Yeah. This is...
because it's always going to be there.
I agree.
So it's a great tip to have in your toolkit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Don't, there are times where it's going to ebb and flow.
Yep.
Life is going to...
And that's totally okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. Just step away. If you want to stay engaged, read some books.
Yep. Listen to a podcast.
You can rotate through projects, go from painting to lore, terrain building, that kind of thing. Terrain building is such a great, and painting terrain is such a great, it's done so differently than painting a model that for me, it's just like, I just spray this stuff, I dry brush it, I pick out a few details, done.
Right. And your boarding action set is complete.
No, that's where I get a grinding machine so I can grind this stuff down. Yeah, I get a hot sand bed. So
there's a longevity toolkit. Don't buy a sand bed.
Yeah, you don't need
it.
That came up again recently in the Discord. We were talking.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never actually even seen one.
No, I know.
And it's actually not called a hot sand bed. It's called something else. So anyway.
It's used in the dental field.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
anyway,
What's the next thing?
Join a community or create a long-term community of challenges, even if it's within your friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like challenge your friends.
Well, you can do it like a book club.
Yeah.
Right? It's a paint club.
Or you can do a book club.
I mean,
but yes, you're right.
But like the Endgame guys, they get together on Wednesday nights on Discord and just paint.
The old Endgame guys still get together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Is the Discord name Endgame?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
No. But it's just a way to do like paint jams.
Yeah.
Right? Sit and you're shooting the breeze and you're hobbying and it's
Love paint jams.
Yep.
Love it. Yeah, and I think we already talked about this. Breaks and resets of the hobby. Already mentioned that. And don't be afraid to leave and come back. I guess I doubled up on that.
It's doubly important.
I guess so. I think for me, you just want to maintain that social aspect of it. But again, occasionally other things are going to take precedence, or your attention is going to shift. I finally got my sim racer all together.
There you go.
And somebody made
Time's going to shift.
Somebody made a joke in the car. They go, "There goes Carl's hobby progress."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, yes."
But you know what though? This thing about it, resets and going and coming back and stuff like that, it's actually a point that Dan makes in his talk.
Yeah, let's talk to Dan in the UK.
Hi, I'm Dan from the UK. So my relationship with 40k is quite a long one. I remember stumbling across White Dwarf in 2002, and I've been looking for the issue for like decades at this point, and I can't find it. And I vividly remember the White Scars army that was in the battle report, and from that point I was kind of hooked. But I was 11, 12, and 40k has always been quite an expensive hobby, but over the years that I've been playing, at school, when I was living at home and then at university, and now as I sort of raise a family as well, my hobby has sort of gone in waves. Previously, I'd just be able to dream of these armies, and I remember flicking through the catalogs you would pick up in the store with the glossy black cover, and sort of dreaming about the models that were in there. And always linking back a little bit to that first White Scars army, and I've sort of always wanted that bike-based, fast White Scars force, but my inability to paint white mixed with it being quite an expensive hobby has never made that happen. And then I stumbled across the Deathcore of Krieg in the Forge World resin, and that's a level above back in the day, before they were out in plastic. And then I remember around the Eye of Terror campaign, falling in with the Dark Angels, and that sort of I've come and gone from that. I've done a bit of Eldar and a bit of other stuff in the meantime, but I've always come back to the Dark Angels, and that's why I'm playing the most now. But as I have grown up, I guess I've sort of started to come up with more thematic armies, and instead of just growing the collection exponentially, it feels like I'm sticking to 2Ks, and I'm trying to follow a theme. I'm working on an Imperial Guard army that's a bit Napoleonic themed and a little bit influenced by the Gaunt's Ghost stuff, where I'm merging the Cadian and the Deathcore regiments, like they've been thrown together. And that's a lot of fun to do it that way. And I think I want to come back to the White Scars at some point and do that. And I think, part of the reason I do that is because of this podcast, really. It's helping me pick the bits that I appreciate the most about the hobby. And that's the theme and the setting and the story, rather than just collecting for the sake of collecting, I suppose. And that's kind of along those lines is the advice that I'd give to my younger self is, paint what you want to. You should be enjoying what you're doing, and it should be safe for you to do that, right? And you shouldn't follow the meta blindly or let that introduce any sort of anxiety into what you're doing. Just enjoy it. I think I've spent hours trying to force myself to paint specific models because they play better on the table, or they might help me win, or whatever. And if I just wasn't enjoying painting that model, I just shouldn't have done it. I should have just relaxed, identify the bits I enjoy painting and collecting, and just have fun with it.
All right. Well, I want to thank Dan for taking time to talk to us too. This was not easy to schedule with everybody, by the way. So,
especially since he's 8 hours ahead of us.
I'm glad to have done it, though. Dan talked about White Dwarf being like a big intro for him into this, and it was not lost on me that Blake picked that as his number 5 top thing, and man. And then I think he failed to top it as he went on.
But for him, he was looking at what was the most impactful for him.
All right, fine. Make excuses. But we all know it was a great first pick.
Yeah,
it could have been number one.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was for him. But it is still a great resource. And I will tell you, like, for a year and a half or so, I have not had a subscription to White Dwarf, and I resubbed up to it, and I got my first issue last month.
Wait, one of the things they had recently was they had a thing. It was 3 game story arcs.
Yeah,
where you could roll dice and set up your story arcs. 3 game story arcs. And Josh was talking about setting one up. It's like it's right there in White Dwarf.
I just love running the White Dwarf missions.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're fantastic. They're actually the first thing I go to now when I get to White Dwarf.
Yeah.
So, and then let's talk. Several people mentioned how the hobby was expensive.
Yeah.
I think as a kid, yes, it seems expensive, and it is. There is a barrier to entry to the hobby that is monetary.
Yep.
Look, this argument has been made to death. Is it an expensive hobby? Is it not? In my mind, it's not a terribly expensive hobby in comparison to other hobbies I play. I just got this
golf,
this sim racer.
Yeah.
I spent more on this thing than I did on probably my entire 40K collection.
Wow.
Yeah, it is not cheap. When you factor in all the monitors, the computer, all the components, like it is not a cheap.
Yep.
Listen, John and I had a few beers at Austin after the Formula One race, and we both bought the same thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it was a ridiculous purchase, but here it is. But my point is, it's a hobby with investment. I still have to pay money to subscribe to the service that I use too. So 40K for me is a hobby. It has a monetary value. You have to decide for yourself, is that monetary value worth your time?
Yes. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. And one of the things that a lot of the people talk about is don't chase everything.
Right.
If you can stay away from the FOMO and you can say, hey, I'm going to focus on this faction.
Yep.
And you spend $165 on your combat patrol, you could theoretically not buy anything else other than the paint you need for that.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
And you can just play combat patrol.
I think it's the on-ramp has been
made. Or
you
could just play Kill Team.
The on-ramp has been made easier than ever.
Yes.
I do not disagree with that.
You can spend $75 on a Kill Team box.
You're slipping into it.
No, it's true.
No, it is true.
And you could say,
I'm just laughing.
It's like you play it as a board game.
Yeah.
And you never have to spend any more money.
I'm just laughing because you're looking at me. I'm like, why is he telling me this? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's not. He's telling the people on the microphone.
Yeah. But and it's one of the things that Dan talked about was not having meta anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Paint what you want. Don't paint what everybody else thinks you should have in your army.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that goes back to not buying everything. Right? You can set it up so I'm only spending this. Here's my 2,000 point list. I'm going to build to that list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend to that list.
Mm-hmm.
And if I start with the combat patrol, they're actually good values, those boxes.
100%. Yeah.
And you could go without having to spend much of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And if you
you have it,
yeah.
And once it's painted, it's painted and
right.
it's yours.
You have it. Right.
Like, it's not going to go away.
And if you decide you like one of the 2 factions in the starter box, well, then you're really saving money because it's got the rule book and it's got some dice.
Like I said, we could have this expensive debate forever. Ultimately, it comes down to a personal choice.
Yes.
Is that worth for you?
Right.
And listen, I mean, this podcast is entirely about 40K. Of course, I think it's worth it. I'd be, look at this stupid room. I mean, without a doubt. So, but a number of people did touch on that it's expensive.
Right.
I would say younger when you are cash strapped. Yeah, it may seem out of reach. We're adults. We budget and then we spend what we want to spend. Right. So yeah, you're either there or you're not. I was jealous of Dan's time that he said where he was in the Eye of Terror campaign and participating in that. I really do wish I had been playing around that time and participating because,
He touched on the overall theme that came through a lot of these, and then we talked about it also, is just things going in waves, right? Your interaction with the hobby goes in waves. It waxes and wanes. A lot of people hit on that. We've hit on it a bunch of times.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Right? If something comes up and you end up drifting away from the hobby, that's okay. Guess what? It'll still be there.
Yeah. I mean,
just don't get rid of all the models.
Your Marines might not be Primaris Marines anymore.
That's okay. You know what, though? You can still play them as Primaris Marines as long as your friends are okay with it.
You sure can. You sure can.
Yep.
I mean, they got to be rebased, but...
oh, my God.
Anyway, I distinctly...
Buy some discs and put them on there.
I distinctly remember when Age of Sigmar was really, really kicking off, and I was over in Nottingham, and I was hanging out with John. I think it was John at the time. Might have been Alan. No, it was Alan. And Alan.
Drop another couple names for us.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you this for a reason because they were on the inside. They knew what was coming.
Right.
And they said, some of the stuff coming out I really like, and some is just not my taste.
Right.
And they said, but the fire hose that is about to open, nobody is going to be able to keep up with.
Yeah.
And they were not wrong.
Correct.
They were not wrong. And they said they gave the advice you said, which was, pick something that you want and stick with that thing, because this is going to be insane. And sure enough,
Dude, the reason some of the Age of Sigmar models, like in the newer, it's amazing. The models are just so good.
I think they're gorgeous. And there have been times I've looked at it and gone, maybe I should. I'm like, I'm not playing Age of Sigmar. Why am I going to do that? Like my FOMO is gone.
Spearhead, $148. That's all you got to spend.
I don't even need to spend that. I got a Skaven.
There you go.
Spearhead set.
Let's do it.
I painted up those Skaven guys for my.
Let's throw it down.
For my Mordheim thing.
Yep.
I just have to paint the rest of them.
Yep.
No, I got too many other things. I'm painting them. I got way too many other things.
I know you got to go drive Zamfort on the sim.
I got to do that. Zamfort sucks, by the way. I gotta do the knights that I got.
Yep.
Chaos Knights because those.
You got to finish the Terminators for Shell.
I got to finish the Terminators and some more Gene Stealers. And,
So hey, thank you to everybody who contributed for this episode. It was really cool to have you all part of our gaming group.
Yeah, for sure.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, you got any last minute things you want to throw out there? Any final messages?
Yeah. Focus on what you think is fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
That's right. I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more. Love what you do. Do what you love.
Yep.
Okay. You can leave us reviews on iTunes. You can catch us on our Discord. You can catch us in our Facebook group.
Yep.
You can join the Patreon if you want to help support us further and get
greatly
access
appreciate that
to great stories like Adon's F1 trip. I'm going to keep you longer to talk about, but we really do appreciate that support. So, unless you got anything else to add, Until next time, this is Carl.
This is Adon.
We're coming to you from the Astronomicon, where this show is about making you feel like a part of our gaming group.
And where everything old becomes new again.
Except us.
Oh, yeah.
We've signed off here, and I realized after we had finished recording and Adon had gone home that I forgot to include Spencer Grant's submission, which he sent me as a sound file. So I'm going to add it in here, and then I have a few points I want to make about it, and we'll go from there.
Hi, independent characters. This is Spencer Grant. I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And answering the question posed in the independent characters community. And as a player who's been in the hobby for 10 years or less, what drew me into 40K originally, and I say 10 years or less because of 10 years cumulative actual being in the hobby, I don't think I've quite reached. But I got into the hobby originally, probably as many did, as a child, probably around 7 or 8 years old. But it was a bit interesting, maybe. We took a trip to England, my family and I, and my dad actually came across Warhammer at one of his friends' place. Their son was interested in it, and he just thought it was really cool. And so when we got back to America, my dad went and found Warhammer and kind of proselytized me. Now, fast forward a couple of years, I sort of liked it as a kid, but it fell off quite quickly. I was probably too young and definitely didn't have any money or anything like that. So rediscovered it again during COVID when I entered a board game store with my soon-to-be wife, and kind of came across a box of miniatures and said, "Oh wait, I know what that is." And the last 5 years or so, it's been kind of a waxing and waning at times, but ever present factor in my life. And I think what I look forward to, my life's a bit more it's I've got more money now than I had as a 7 or 8 year old, but I have more responsibilities now as a 30-year-old. And so I have a young son who's almost a year old. We have another kid on the way. And Warhammer's become an escape for me from my life in some ways, but also like cherished me time in a life that doesn't get that much me time these days. And so, I look forward to and treasure my Warhammer time, and I think I don't know if I'll get more of it over the next couple of years, but I think I look forward to growing my relationship in different ways. And so one of the things that I'm interested in now, and being in the hobby for 5 years, I'm on kind of my third or fourth, depending on how you count it, army at this point, and I've found that I've gone through stages with my armies. Kind of my first one was Chaos Space Marines, and I chose them because they just looked like the most badass, and I was kind of unafraid to jump into what felt like a nerdy hobby at the time by choosing like the most badass looking models. It felt easier that way, I guess. And then after that, I got into the Black Templars, and loved the Black Templars because I felt like it was kind of a similar deal, but allowed me to branch out into kind of Imperial forces, kind of badass zealots. I read Hell's Reach. It kind of got me into the Warhammer lore, so that was sort of a next step, right? Now I'm comfortable with the hobby, and I'm kind of jumping into the lore a little bit. And then after that, created a Space Wolves kind of custom successor chapter where I sort of brought in pieces of my own family's background, actually, my Scottish heritage, and built like a Scottish-themed force. And so that was even another step, really, kind of using the hobby as a creative outlet that allowed me to explore my own past. And I think this next step for me, now I'm starting a Drukhari Dark Eldar army. I've noticed something really quickly with the Dark Eldar. I'm, for the first time ever, painting women, actually, right? Witches, women, and sexy women at that too, which is a somewhat uncomfortable feeling for me still. But I think what it's telling me, and kind of the other lesson that I'm learning right now through the hobby, I've started playing the game as well, is what I'm trying to kind of unlock at this time, where I don't have that much time necessarily, but I think I'm still, the hobby is teaching me things about myself, is that the hobby it's teaching me to be more comfortable with who I really am in a way. Like, I've liked Dark Eldar since I started. I remember I bought a box of Incubi shortly after I bought the Chaos Space Marines, but I kind of didn't get too far into them because they felt too fringe and uncomfortable for me in a way. And I just wasn't comfortable kind of like playing that army and recognizing that a lot of it was female characters. And, also playing the game. It took me a long time to play the game because I just didn't have any friends that played Warhammer or know how to break into that space in a way that felt comfortable. And I feel like at this time, I might not have the time to spend tons of time really painting to a super high level. But what I can do is take that time and be really myself in it, and be confident in what I want to do and comfortable with that. And, I'm now free to kind of spend time in game stores and not be embarrassed by that. But be kind of proud in a way that this is something that's valuable to me and important to me and plays a beneficial role in my life. And yeah, I feel like that's what I'm looking for from Warhammer. So I probably apologize if this was a bit of a longer answer than you all were looking for. But yeah, those are my answer to the prompts. So hope you guys are doing well, and look forward to listening to the episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
So Spencer was one of the few people that submitted a testimonial that really dealt with somebody who had not been in the hobby for longer than 10 years. And so I appreciate that. I also appreciate him sending me a sound file, which made it a lot easier. But also, I just wanted to point out some of the similarities that we've seen in terms of, as Spencer has gotten older, he has had to adjust his time, adjust where his money is spent. But also he hit on some of the themes that I think we've talked about through the entire episode, which are really based around, as you're younger, you have less money, but more time. And then that shifts as you get older, where you have hopefully more money and less time. Well, hopefully on the more money front, but less time. And so it becomes there's this teetering point, I feel, where you begin to change what your priorities are, and you have to shift those things. I have often said to a lot of my friends, especially as I was paying for commission painted armies and such, that time is a resource you can never get back. So I'll just leave you with that point. Again, time is a resource you can never get back. Spend it like it's the most precious thing you have out there. Until next time, we'll be here keeping the light of the Astronomicon on. This episode of The Independent Characters is protected by the Creative Commons license. If you have further questions as to its use, you can find information on the front page at theindependentcharacters.com. Oh.